help you narrow it down. They make sleep easy.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. Sean Schaefer. San Diego's own Allen Sliwa. Here's Schaefer and Sliwa.
Hi, San Diego and Southern California. What's going on as we head into July 4th weekend? Schaefer and Sliwa. Alan, good to see you, my friend.
Happy 4th of July weekend coming up here for you.
Happy 4th.
Yes,
we will be off tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be back next week.
We'll be back
in
next
some
week.
form or fashion. We do believe we will be here next week. Of course, this is a big weekend for a variety of reasons, including the Padres and the Dodgers.
Okay.
Will once again kick off a series. I don't know if that's something we're looking forward to or not.
That's exciting. That's super exciting.
Super exciting.
Really looking forward to that.
If the Padres hadn't lost each of their last 5 games. By the way, Alden Gonzalez from ESPN will join us coming up at 3:30. JD Wicker at San Diego State is officially in the Pac-12. He will join us live coming up at 4 p.m. as well. Darren Smith is on the show this afternoon at 4:30. Are you at the point where, like, with everything that's playing out right now with the Padres, like, are you looking forward to this weekend series against the Dodgers? Or are you doing the opposite of that and doing everything in your power to not look forward to what's to come?
Here's what I think happens is most fans, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. There's, struggles, and you kind of got to go through all of them. But I think as a Padre fan, at least this season, there's been moments where you're like, I cannot wait for the game. I'm looking forward to this matchup. I'm looking forward to whatever momentum they've carried, or maybe it's like a really interesting series. And then there are other times in the series where I'm like, I can't wait to see who's playing soccer tonight. I can't wait to distract myself with many other things other than Padres baseball. So to answer your question, I'm not really looking that forward to this series, no.
That's interesting because
Yeah,
I think I might be like, what's the saying? Like a glutton for punishment. I can't turn away. Like, no matter if it's really good, I'm in. If it's really bad, I'm in. If it's in the middle, honestly, sometimes it's not as interesting. But like, I'm in it for the long haul. I know you are as well.
Okay, good for you.
But it's like it's the Padres and the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium for the first time this year. It just creates interest, even when the team is playing as poorly as they are. And then I feel like we learned something. If the wheels just completely fall off and they go 1-3 this weekend or worse, can they recover from it? Fair question. They'd be under 500. Or what if they pick up the pieces and somehow play well over the next 4 days? What would we say on Monday if that were to play out? So I don't know. It's like we're this far into it at this point. Let's just see what plays out this weekend.
I think, listen, can there be some surprises this weekend? Of course there can. Like that's just that comes with baseball, right? The problem is I think it's tough to get excited about them right now, period. By the way, even if they weren't, let's say Dodgers, they didn't have the Dodgers. Let's skip the Dodgers and they're playing Arizona.
Yeah.
It's tough to just watch them right now. It's tough to just spend 9 innings stylistically how they play or how they struggle with their bats or their starting pitching or just some of the mistakes that we talked about, the multitude of mistakes that they make. I mean, I get the concept of it's Padres, Dodgers, this should be fun, this should be that, but they're playing so poorly right now that it's really, really tough to get excited about this game. Now, we did run into this before. They were playing poorly. I think they lost 2 or 3 against Texas. They go 4-5 on that road trip, and then they swept the Atlanta Braves, right?
Yeah.
You sweep Atlanta, and then all of a sudden you did start getting excited. And then there's the game. Which game was it? The final game of the 3-game stretch. Was JP Sears the final game?
Against Atlanta?
I think it was.
Yeah, I think he pitched well.
He pitched really well. He did pitch really well, but it was, you're walking into the final game of that series. You're like, all right, all they got to do is take 2 or 3. They won that game. They followed that with another win, a solid win against the Dodgers. That's the first game they took. I think 7-1 was the final there. Something along those. I might be off by the score there. So it built some momentum and you started getting excited about it, but I'm not excited about this 4-game set, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, I think I will probably do a pretty good job of checking the score. How are things going? But I'm not sitting and I need a second to I need to regroup. It's like I need a full timeout.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that same way. To be honest with you, I'd prefer to be the Dodgers than it be the Diamondbacks. The reason I say that is I think I could lose some focus if this series was against, let's say, Pittsburgh at PNC Park.
Okay.
With a 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 10 a.m. start. for the next 3 days. Like I could turn away if it's Padres Pirates at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Say that 3 times, by the way. But since it's the Dodgers in LA, I just have to watch. And if things go poorly, they go poorly.
Sure.
And by the way, if things don't go poorly, and nobody's expecting them to go up to Dodger Stadium and win this series or sweep this series or whatever, but
especially just the way they've been playing, for sure.
But they weren't playing well heading into that Braves series, and that was at home, and they swept that series. People change their tune so quickly, is my point. If they win 3 out of 4 against the Dodgers, the chat and the social media chatter is going to be different than if this continues and they lose 3 of their next 4 games.
Now, you're right about that. I don't disagree with that, but I think that's kind of the ups and downs of being a sports fan. It's the ups and downs of having 162 games. I mean, I could use the Cubs as a great example. The Cubs had 2 10-game stretches early on where they had 2 10-game winning streaks, and then they went just randomly. They had a 10-game losing streak. Like there's the ups and downs of whatever team that you're looking forward to, whatever team that you support. Of course, there's going to come times. I may right now, if you ask me, I'm as down in the dumps of a Padres fan as I've been all season. Right now, today, it's the worst that it's been watching this team play. It's also the closest I think they've been to 500 since they started out the season, 11 games over 500. I don't think they got this close. I think they're 1 game over 500 right now. So this is the worst stretch of baseball that they've had. Not stretch. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but it's just not a fun brand right now to watch. Can it change? No. Hopefully it does. Hopefully we can sit here on Monday and do a show and say the Padres took 3 or 4. I find that very difficult to believe.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I do feel as if some of the pressure has now shifted towards both the front office and the coaching staff as much as it's always been on the players. And we've talked about the players all year. Starting pitching, problematic. Offense, huge problem. 30th in starting pitching ERA. I'm making that up, but it sounds good. It's no better than 29th. I mean, we're watching it play out.
I'll take 20. Remains at this point. I had 29th. I would walk around proud with that.
Offense remains 29th or 30th. So there's been so much pressure and so much, of the team under a microscope.
Yeah.
At what point do you widen it out and be like, is this going to be enough? Like, if this is who they are, and I hear what you're saying, and I think a lot of Padres fans feel the same way. If this team isn't it, a lot of people feel that way. If they get to the offseason and they didn't make the postseason, which, by the way, they're not forecasted to do. Like, by most metrics, they're not forecasted right now to do it. Is it just going to be run back with AJ Preller? Will more attention be on his security with the new ownership group, even though he got the multi-year deal?
It's funny. We talked about this. It was kind of towards the end of the show, and yesterday was a shortened show because we were going to watch USA and Bosnia. I think there was a point towards the end of the show where I said something along the lines. I know a lot of people, and there was a lot of people in the chat yesterday, of course, saying fire AJ Preller. This is coming off a 23-3 loss to the Chicago Cubs. And then we were on probably a half hour after that game ended. So obviously people felt a certain way in that moment. I said something to you, and I don't think we got a chance to talk about it. We didn't get to expand on it that much. I don't think I'm in the fire AJ camp. I don't think I'm in the fire AJ Preller camp. And I think once new ownership comes in, I really would like them to kind of recalculate how they do business. And maybe AJ Preller only knows how to do business this way. And if he does, then that's a problem. And then I'm more than happy to have that conversation of, you know what, maybe they should move on from AJ Preller. But I think there are some things that AJ Preller, that he does that are phenomenal. They're great. I think he's got a phenomenal eye for talent. I think he finds value. I think he finds guys that maybe didn't make it somewhere else and they could come here and make a name for themselves in San Diego. But I think the biggest issue that the Padres have right now is a lot of the players that we're most frustrated about. There are too many players on this team. I'm not telling you that they're actually fat and happy. I'm telling you they got paid a lot of money for many, many years, and I hope that motivation is still there. I don't have an issue per se with AJ Preller today as much as I did. Some of those contracts that they signed a couple years ago are starting to hurt them today. If you told me AJ Preller has been told by new ownership, you got to do things a different way, stylistic. We can't be swinging for the fence. You can't go all in every time you want. I think he needs to be reeled back in. And if he can't be the best version of himself reeled back in, then I think it's a different conversation.
I think it's a fair conversation, as in I think it's a conversation worth having, although I could go down your path, which is I'm not firmly convinced that I would advocate for him to go. But I would also say that since Peter Seidler's passing, he has been asked to reel it back in. There have been very few sizable moves when it comes to dollars made by the Padres since Peter Seidler's passing. Maybe a one-year deal. Michael King, the trade for Mason Miller was not a dollar deal.
But that's the definition I'm talking about. What's your definition of going all in? Because to me, when you give up and you mortgage your future, and we can have a different conversation about Mason Miller, and that's obviously he's been one of the studs for the Padres, but that's still going all in. Like in baseball, you don't have to go all in just with a contract. You could also go in with the best of prospects that you have that is going on.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at Mason Miller, though. He's so controllable. Like he's under control through 2029. So even if this thing goes haywire, you have 2027 and 2028 and 2029. But I understand it. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what parameters are in place for Preller under new ownership, if any are, and if they continue with him as the front man for the front office. Because I don't know if there's that guarantee or not, honestly. He's been here for forever. In professional sports circles, he's the second most tenured GM in the sport, I think, to Brian Cashman. I mean, I think about how long has Rob Pelinka been GM of the Lakers?
I think he came in when Magic left. So, I mean, he came in as a GM and then has been moved up to president of basketball operations. So at least you could say probably 8 years.
I was going to say, it feels like Pelinka's been there forever, but Preller is outlasting Pelinka.
I think 8-ish. Okay, 8-ish is I want to say, because I know Magic was the one that technically signed LeBron. LeBron was there for 8 years, and then Magic left a year after that.
And Preller's, 12th season or 13th year, and they've never appeared in a World Series. And there's going to come a time.
Okay,
there's going to come a time.
I know we got to go to break here, so we could do this when we come back. What is the one thing you'd like? What's the one thing you're most critical about with AJ Preller? Of everything that he brings to the table? And maybe you could lob something else in there. Thing you're most critical about and the thing that you like most about Preller.
Okay. Me personally?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, if you want to weigh in, 877-767-4760 or our talkback mic is open. Open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click that red talkback microphone. You'll be eligible to win concert tickets for 5 Seconds of Summer or also Motley Crue. Alden Gonzalez, baseball reporter for ESPN, will join us at 3:30. More on this conversation on AJ Preller on the other side. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, our iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Live performances by the Goo Goo Dolls, Kenny Chesney, Lainey Wilson, Snoop Dogg, Weezer, and more. September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Now's your chance to buy tickets at AXS.com. Get them now before they sell out.
Your question about Preller is very easy for me to answer. I love the question, which is like, what do you like most and what do you like least about Preller as a GM? So easy for me to answer. And let me give you my feedback, and then I want to hear from you. And then we want to hear from our listeners as well. Off the Talkback mic, open the iHeart app, search for 760, click the red Talkback mic, or call us, 877-767-4760. What I personally like most is the sexy move, is being involved, the center of the attention of the baseball universe in trade deadline and winter meeting hot stove moments. By and large, this decade. I enjoy that personally as someone that consumes this the way we do, right? What I don't like is that's not how you win. And I get carried away with it like a lot of people do. You win a press conference, you win a trade deadline, you win a hot stove. And you're like, Xander, man, Xander Bogaerts, 2-time champ, love it. And then you watch how it plays out and it looks nothing like you thought. Mason Miller, man, love it. And I do. I love the player, but he hasn't pitched the way we thought. Yeah, they're not using him. So that's what I like.
Because they're not in position to use him.
I've never liked ultra conservative organizations. Like, to me, like the St. Louis Cardinals have never been like the sexiest organization. But of course, during our lifetimes, they've won at a very high clip, including multiple championships during our lifetime. But the thing with the Padres is it's unconventional. It's headline grabbing for this sport specifically, but unfortunately, it hasn't worked on field the way maybe we thought it would when some of those moves were made.
So I'm complete opposite. Now I jump on the bandwagon too. It's like they got Juan Soto, and I mean all that is obviously it's big time. But for me, I think, and this is just my personality, and it doesn't mean that everyone has to look this way or feel this way. Slow and steady wins the race.
Sure.
And I think the example that you gave about the Cardinals, I would much rather this franchise model themselves similar to the Cardinals than they would with, I'm not even really 100% sure how to describe what the Padres are. Like, if somebody told you, hey, let's take every Major League Baseball team that has an identity, I'm not sure if I know what the Padres' identity is. Maybe it is a little bit of this, like, hey, they're in the mix, but they need a little there's some Hail Mary-ish into it. There's a little bit of hope and pray that this whole thing works out. There's a little bit of watching some other teams just get in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden they won a World Series, and it's almost like that's San Diego's, it's kind of the hope and feel that happens.
You know who the Padres are to me? Like the stock market analogy would be like, when the market's good or the market's bad, you should keep your money in, is what people would tell you to do.
Yeah.
Because long term, your money's going to grow. You can't really predict the market. Oh, it's down. Let me take my money out. I'll put it back in when it goes up. Well, you don't know when it's going to go up.
If it's down, they'd say you're supposed to buy. That's when you're supposed to buy more.
I think the Padres are just overly aggressive with the market. When you like call your financial advisor, like, are you a 1 or a 10 in risk? And they're like 10.5. Like, they're just willing, specifically under AJ Preller, to throw more caution to the wind. He does it fearlessly. I don't think he's doing it based on whether he's going to keep his job or lose his job. I just see him as very aggressive, which has its benefits, but also I think has its disadvantages.
Every time I see other people talk about the Padres, right? Buster Olney, and like you got all these other kind of MLB baseball experts and even former players. I see this a lot at the trade deadline. I see them saying, I love it.
Yeah.
I love this. Is great.
Yeah.
I love how aggressive he is. I love how he basically says, F them picks, as we like to put it, right? Yeah. There's a little bit of that. That's fine if you told me that they got to a World Series. Like, if they cashed one in, let's just say at the very least, they got to a World Series and lost a tough matchup 4-2, but they were in it and they had an opportunity. The problem is, I think when the dust settles, what have they really accomplished? By the way, they're not the only team. Like, I could look at Philadelphia. Now, the Phillies got to a World Series, right? The problem with Philadelphia, too, is, well, I look at old history and it's like, yeah, but they've also won World Series before. But if I just take like the more recent future, the problem is when you really when you really look at this team, they might have accomplished some great things for San Diego, but the bar was so low. It's not like the Padres' history, and I don't say this to be disrespectful, I'm from San Diego too.
Right.
It's not like the San Diego Padres have this unbelievable bar that, so the fact that they beat the Dodgers in 2022 and went up against Philadelphia, that was like oh my God, this was one of the greatest sports moments in San Diego because it's been so freaking long that we've had some real sustained success. The bar's not high. So I guess I go back to the question of when the dust settles, what have they really accomplished? And I think if you're AJ Preller and you spent the type of money that you did, and you got to put Peter Seidler into this conversation as well, because obviously AJ Preller wasn't able to, a lot of these guys that are still on the books today is when Peter Seidler was still there with them, making these decisions. So I guess my biggest question moving forward is, what do they do now? And new ownership is coming. And what is the philosophy going to be? Because we're watching a team right now that's one game over 500. And since 2024, when they were up 2-1 on the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they had for 16 minutes, they were the World Series favorites of everybody that was left in the postseason, they've really had no chance. And they're going in a trajectory and in an angle that it doesn't seem like it's going to work its way back up.
I feel as if you're kind of making an argument for him not to necessarily be the GM, right? I mean, what have they accomplished? To your point, the expectations here aren't the same as they are in LA or New York. But like San Diego State basketball, as your profile rises, so do the expectations, and the profile did rise.
And they did. I think the expectations have risen in San Diego.
They have,
because listen to what we're
but
listening
when you
to our
fail to meet
conversation.
them, what are the repercussions? Is the question, because they are very likely, not guaranteed, very likely to fail to meet them this year. So is that going to buy you a second chance, another opportunity? He was hired August of 2014. It's a long period of time. How many more opportunities will you have? Is a fair question, I think.
Here's what I would say, and I didn't even answer my own question. Part of my biggest frustration with AJ Preller, typically to have this much turnover, you're not running a good business. A lot of good, healthy businesses have people that stick around for a long time because the person at the top hired the right people.
Sure.
I'll use Craig Stammen as an example right now. Craig Stammen, of course, we're going to have some frustrations with Craig Stammen. He's never done this before. So should I be upset at Craig Stammen, or should I be upset at AJ Preller?
Preller, he hired him.
I don't, and maybe I'm making a case, but I'm not trying to. All I'm saying is that either AJ Preller is going to adjust or he's not. I don't know if AJ Preller will know how to adjust. This is just probably who AJ Preller is. And for this market, is this, like, at the end of the day, do they have a better chance of winning based off of how he's operating, or would they have a better chance of winning based off a little bit more of a long-term vision?
Alden Gonzalez is a baseball reporter, and a very good one for ESPN. He'll join us on the other side as the Padres get ready for a 4-game set against the Dodgers in LA, plus some fallout in the NBA with free agency well underway and a massive move within the last 24 hours in the NBA. We'll discuss later this hour. JD Wicker will join us at 4 p.m. on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
Their support is sponsored by Bank of America. The Padres are getting set for game 1 of their series with the Dodgers tonight up in LA. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going for the Padres and Roki Sasaki going for LA. First pitch is set for 7:10. We have one final from the World Cup earlier today. Spain defeated Austria 3-0. Bank of America, sponsor of the FIFA World Cup 2026, dedicated offering solutions to help businesses meet their goals locally and globally. More at bankofamerica.com/gamechangers.
All right, let's continue this conversation. Padres obviously beyond scuffling right now. They've lost 5 straight. They'll be at Dodger Stadium taking on the first place Dodgers beginning a 4-game set here tonight. So
that's how you get back on track.
That's how you get back on track if you're San Diego. You play 4 in LA. Alden Gonzalez, great ESPN baseball reporter with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We appreciate you taking time for us. We were just touching on this. If the Padres are who we've seen here and they miss out on the postseason, which I think a number of people at this point are probably expecting, and of course we know there's a new ownership coming in. I guess my question, just generally speaking, is from your seat, how secure is AJ Preller based on the way this team is performing right now if they don't see themselves out of this, so to speak?
It's a great and fair question. AJ Preller's been there a long time. He's had a lot of rope to make a lot of moves, to hire a lot of managers, to take on a lot of payroll. And if you take the long view of the Padres, especially looking forward, every single year of the Padres, it's going to be harder and harder for them to contend because their core gets older and simultaneously, in many cases, more expensive because of the way some of those contracts were structured. Mm-hmm. Their farm system gets thinner because they kept trading prospects away for win-now players, and the urgency to win the World Series ratchets it up. Looking at this trying to look at this a little bit more logically, like AJ Preller did sign his extension.
Yep.
And it would be surprising to me that a new ownership group would come in and right away with a GM who just signed an extension, make a move like that. So I guess I would side with he would probably be safe for another offseason. But I mean, AJ Preller and Peter Seidler were very, very tight. And that's no secret. Peter Seidler's not there anymore. The Seidler family is nowhere near as involved as they used to be. And so I think the microscope is going to be on him, no doubt about it. Having said that, though, I think the Padres still have a chance. Their offense is terrible, and their starting rotation looks really bad. And AJ's got his work cut out for him. But I think it's a very fair and valid question.
Alden, what's the? I'm gonna follow up that real quick on Preller. It's been most of our conversation so far today. When you bring up the name AJ Preller around baseball, what are, just give me some of the things that you think come to mind, and it could be great stuff that he's done or just his mentality, and then also things that you think that have more of a negative connotation. What are some of the things that come to mind for you?
Well, I think AJ Preller is like universally regarded as like baseball obsessed and quirky. Like I think even he would say that maybe proudly about himself. I think there's no doubt that AJ Preller is an incredible talent evaluator, and that I think every team in baseball would love for him to run his drafts. But he's also somebody who, and this is, something that a lot of other GMs have commented about with AJ, and it's not a secret, but like he takes a lot of chances. He takes on a lot of risk, and it's been to the benefit of San Diego in the sense that like he has built the Padres into a team that the fans are excited about. And, the reason why Petco Park has become this sort of destination spot, and the reason why they've set all these attendance records have been because Peter Seidler opened up his checkbook and spent a lot of money and locked down stars. But it has also been because AJ Preller brought in those stars. I will say, some of the deals that have really hamstrung the Padres recently, whether it's the Xander Bogaerts contract or the Manny Machado extension, Like, I don't know how much of those were more Peter than AJ. I think AJ Preller has done his best work, and other people would say this too, when he's been more restricted with the payroll, when he's had to get a little bit more creative. I mean, the offseason when he traded Juan Soto and he had to get back under the luxury tax threshold and they had to cut a bunch of costs, I think he did a really good job. I think he did a really good job last offseason too. But it's gotten to the point now, though, where all these moves that he made in search of star players, because I think that's another thing I should have pointed out earlier. One thing that's universally known about AJ, he loves stars. He subscribes to like this ethos that, and I don't know that he's wrong, but that like superstar talent is what wins in October. So you've seen him empty out the farm system for the Josh Haders and the Juan Sotos and the Mason Millers recently. But all that stuff catches up to you. And if you don't win with those stars in the moment, you pay that bill later. And we're seeing him pay that bill now. And he's going to be paying that bill more and more every year. Because, I mean, just look at the Padres right now. They need 2 bats and 2 starting pitchers. I don't know how they're going to do it. AJ Preller tends to surprise me every trade deadline with what he can do. I thought he did a good job last trade deadline of shoring up a bunch of holes, but that gets harder and harder every offseason because that minor league system gets drier and drier.
That is really well said. Alden Gonzalez from ESPN with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa here on San Diego Sports 760. You tweeted something during the last Padres-Dodgers series that I thought was spot on about the inability for the Padres to essentially properly use an ABS challenge. We don't need to get into the specifics, but it led to that 3-run Dodger inning. They end up winning, I think, the game 4-2. In general, a constant complaint among Padres fans this year is how has this veteran team been so poor fundamentally, so to speak? It's not that they've got this terrible defense, but they make outs on the bases and they have had miscues and they've been awful in terms of knowing the strike zone, either their catchers or at the plate. Is that surprising to you?
Yeah, I guess so. And to be fair, like, I don't think I've watched the Padres closely enough to know that they've been good or bad at it. Like, I could look on Baseball Savant and look at the ABS leaderboards and obviously take a look at that. And I think as ABS gets rolled out this year, I do think in their defense, like, teams are still trying to sort of feeling out how they're going to use it, when to use it.
Yeah.
I don't think the Padres are alone in sort of not really having a full handle on this yet. I will say, though, I think the reason why fans are probably talking about ABS or maybe running the bases and little things like that is because the Padres are navigating a razor-thin margin for error. And I think that's the bigger problem with the Padres right now. This is the worst offense in baseball. The worst offense in baseball. In every meaningful category, at least last I looked, which wasn't that long ago. And this is a starting rotation that started off the year without much great depth and has suffered a lot of injuries, and they're paying the price for that now. So every night, the Padres have a razor-thin margin for error, and that's why those things show up. The reason why that ABS challenge showed up in the Dodger game is because they're not hitting. The Dodgers had their own ABS issue in that game. Andy Pages used one aggressively early in the game. He got it wrong, and later Freddie Freeman couldn't challenge a strikeout in an RBI situation. Nobody talks about that one because the Dodgers scored 1 million runs, and they rendered that moot. And I think that's the problem with the Padres. They can't do that.
That's a great observation. Alden Gonzalez from ESPN joining us here on the Schaefer and Sliwa show. Alden, you know, you reach a certain stage in baseball age, and I'm talking about Manny Machado. Do you have confidence Machado can still find a way to get back to being the player that, you know, obviously San Diego is hoping for, and that they're just desperate to have? You know, John and I always talk about this. We say that, hey, I get it. If these stars, if Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, if they're going to get bad later in their contracts, you kind of understand it, but they can't be getting – they can't be going in the trajectory that they are, and we'll stick on Machado in this one. with this many years left on his contract, he's not even, I think he'll turn 34 after this weekend. What is your confidence level that Manny Machado could be one of the versions that the San Diego Padres need him to be?
I might be in the minority on this one, but I worry about Machado at 37, 38. I have a hard time believing that I think you said he's going to be 34, 32, 33, 34, whatever it is, that he's going to have at that age, and from what we know, relatively healthy and moving around okay. I have a hard time that he would fall off that precipitously. When the track record is that prolonged, this might be a Hall of Fame third baseman one day. And look, I watched Albert Pujols fall off very closely in Anaheim. One of the best right-handed hitters ever. It happens. It happens to everybody. But at 33, 34, for somebody that established, and again, I might be in the minority, and I think I am among especially people in San Diego. I have a hard time believing that this is just who Manny Machado is right now. Maybe I'm wrong, and I know he has shown signs lately of getting it together. I still think there is a Manny Machado who puts up a 120 OPS plus, at least for the next couple of years.
Hopefully
that might not be what he ends up with this year. But I have a hard time believing that that's not still in there.
Yeah, it's well said. I mean, he's been such an established, consistent major league hitter. It's surprising that he's still hitting 190. He's had some power, but he's hitting 190 this year for the Padres. Alden, we appreciate you taking time for us. We know it's a busy weekend. Enjoy the 4th and this weekend series with the Padres and the Dodgers, and thanks for doing it here in San Diego.
No problem, guys. Take care.
All right, great stuff. Alden Gonzalez over at ESPN. Really good insight. Preller.
Yeah. The Preller piece he said about I think it's something that you and I have mentioned. It's like he's better when he's more restricted.
Yep.
That stuck out to me.
Yes,
that
I
really,
agree.
really stuck out to me. He's better when he's more restricted. I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Also said it was completely fair to have the conversation about his future based on the way this team is performing right now and how it's only going to get harder. Like, you got to pay the bill for the moves they've made.
Yep.
The bills are coming, so to speak, for the Padres.
It's like the wild bachelor you go to Vegas with, right? Like it's like a bachelor party and he's the craziest one. And I'm like, I just want to go to bed by midnight.
Oh, I'm going out.
And Preller's like, I'm out till 6 a.m.
I'm with him.
I'm like, Preller, relax.
Let's go out.
You're with him?
Yeah. Oh, for course. Sure. You know me.
Yeah.
All right. JD Wicker on day 2 of San Diego State's official move to the Pac-12. He'll join us coming up at 4 p.m. Plus a wild week in NBA free agency, including the move of Jaylen Brown. What does it have to do with the potential landing spot for LeBron James?
Interesting.
We'll discuss that coming up next. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, our iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Live performances by the Goo Goo Dolls, Kenny Chesney, Lainey Wilson, Snoop Dogg, Weezer, and more September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Now's your chance to buy tickets. Just go to AXS.com. Get them before they sell out.
JD Wicker, San Diego State's athletic director, in 12 minutes. SDSU officially in the Pac-12.
Let's
the new
go.
look Pac-12, that became officially official a night ago at midnight as we switch from June to July. So JD Wicker will join us coming up at 4 p.m.
We'll always remember the day that San Diego State officially entered the Pac-12. You know how we can easily tie the two together?
Kawhi traded to Toronto?
No. Because it was yesterday, right? Yesterday was official?
Yeah, it was kind of at midnight. You're going to say Jaylen Brown?
No.
You're going to say...
Padres lost 23-3 against the Chicago Cubs in a baseball game.
I love that.
They got their
That is
asses
the day
swept.
that the Aztecs moved to the
It's
Pac-12.
pretty easy date to remember.
That is hilarious. It's a good point. That's a good point.
I don't
All right,
think you
that's
really
the
got
day
to
you can
think too
remember.
hard here.
Okay, JD Wicker will join us in 10 minutes. This is a direct quote from Shams, okay, at ESPN. After the Sixers yesterday landed a shocking trade with Boston, their true bitter rival, Jaylen Brown to Philadelphia. Shams saying, I'm told the Sixers are also trying to make a pitch to LeBron James, include the Sixers and maybe 1 or 2 other teams in due time that will be in that mix. So the Sixers could be one of 2 or 3 overall teams that are firmly in the mix for LeBron James after landing Jaylen Brown yesterday.
Can we do this here real quick before I jump to the LeBron piece of it? I know this is not a Philadelphia sports radio station.
No, it is. We're picked up. You didn't see that email?
Are we running?
We're syndicated right now.
Syndicated San Diego and Philly. There's so many ties.
You're
here.
on the Fanatic right now.
Completely understand it. Brother, can somebody explain to me what I'm missing here on the Jaylen Brown stuff? I'm missing something. You know, I feel like I have a good gauge for NBA basketball. Love watching the NBA. Hell, I do a daily freaking podcast on the Lakers and the NBA. What am I missing about Jaylen Brown? How come the Boston Celtics how do you go from we're going to trade Jaylen Brown for Giannis Antetokounmpo and then end up with Paul George?
Yeah, this is the best you could do.
What am I missing? Somebody help me out here.
Alan, here's the other thing. I don't know if this is...
But there has to be something.
And also, I'm not saying this is Dodgers, Giants, or Yankees, Red Sox,
okay,
but it's a bitter rivalry. They have a long, historic series. In fact, you only have to go back a month to watch the Sixers shock the Celtics from 3-1 down in 7 games and win 2 games at the Garden to do that. That, to me, makes it even more significant that they would be willing to go to that length to move Jaylen Brown.
If you told me that the Celtics decided they were getting rid of Jaylen Brown, they were getting out of the Jaylen Brown business, I'm making up stuff, okay? And they traded him to the Denver Nuggets, and it's to the Western Conference, and Jamal Murray and something like whatever you're trying to convince me with, to Philly, and Paul freaking George was a part of that trade. I guess they got 2 first-rounders. Maybe they use those 2 first-rounders to go make another trade down the road. But what became so toxic that Jaylen Brown had to leave the Boston Celtics, and he had to leave them now? And what am I missing with offers? Like, aren't there other teams sitting back there saying, wait a minute, that was the cost for Jaylen Brown? How come I didn't offer 2 first-round picks and whatever player that I have in order to get a better shot at Jaylen Brown? So I'm still confused about that trade.
I'm not saying it's selling off Babe Ruth and you're going to be cursed for forever as a result of this, but this is very odd, I'm telling you, because the way this series plays out, they've met in the postseason, I just looked this up, 23 times all time. They've played 600 games. The biggest Sixer rival is Boston. Boston's second biggest rival to LA is Philadelphia. Like, the history of this series runs deep. Boston Strangler stuff in the 80s with Andrew Toney, with the Sixers. I mean, this thing goes back 50 years.
And it's even different today because the Celtics and the Lakers, yes, have an unbelievable, awesome rivalry.
Yeah.
It's from the 80s. Yeah. It's from the 60s. Yeah. It obviously got a little bit of love there with Kobe and Powell and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. But the reality is proximity is rivalries. Like, how close you are to another city and how often you play them, and the fact that fans can come here, like that has something to do with it as well. So I'm a little confused.
You got to ask yourself, I mean, does it in real quick time completely blow up in the Celtics' face, so to speak? Because like Philadelphia might not be that far off if they were to land LeBron James. Maybe that's a Hail Mary. But like, if you had a Philadelphia team with Maxey and Embiid and Brown and LeBron, like
Jaylen Brown's a stud.
You're right there. You're right there in the Eastern Conference.
Well, I'll say this, and here's the other thing that I think made it so confusing to me. Boston's a good front office.
Of course they are.
They know what they're doing. They're competing every single year. Boston's one of the best sports cities in the country. There's always pressure to win. So that's why like all of this just doesn't make any sense, and we'll figure it out. What do you make of this? Let's just say, what were you going to say, Brent? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think they threw all their eggs in the Giannis basket. And then when he decided that he'd rather go to Miami, or Milwaukee decided they'd rather do the deal with Miami, Brown was still hurt about it and they couldn't bring him back. And I think they shopped him, but all the other teams were kind of like, no, that's too much. And they couldn't keep him. So the only team that they had left was the 76ers.
I'm taking my chances and I'm holding on to Jaylen Brown.
Back. It's like the honest thing with Milwaukee. Make sure it's the right deal, even if you have to wait a year.
I'm holding on to
execute on it.
What was the question? What do you make of this whole LeBron? This is a new team that we've heard. I guess San Antonio's out of the running now because Tobias Harris signed there. Not that I really thought he was going to go there. Well, but how many different teams have we now heard? And is LeBron just sitting back and saying, let all these teams kind of figure some stuff out, make a pitch to me, and then I'll pick at the end?
What do you want to do? You want to win or not? You want to win, go to the East. You want to have fun and be a documentary, go to Golden State. It's great. Amazing. It's like the sexy conversation we had with Preller. You want to win on paper? Amazing. Go to Golden State. Steph Curry, LeBron James, incredible. Not going to win. You go to Philadelphia or Cleveland, you may actually put yourself in a position where you're playing for the NBA Finals. That's how I see it. You want to win or you want to be marketed?
Between those two, who's got a better shot?
I would think Cleveland.
Oh, really? I would think Philly. Philly.
I would just think Cleveland because of the ties and the pull, and they're situated to win, but maybe it is Philadelphia. Maybe there is a real pull there.
I think there's more upside in Philly. The ceiling is higher in Philadelphia.
Now that Jaylen Brown is there.
If everything works.
We'll ask JD Wicker that question. Where should LeBron land? JD Wicker, San Diego State's athletic director.
He's got it.
The Aztecs were in the Pac-12. This is day 2 officially for San Diego State in the new Pac-12. JD Wicker joining us live Pac-12, on the other side to discuss.
Full coffee brewing in the kitchen. This is good.
JD Wicker joining us live next. San Diego State's athletic director. Stay with us. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
Their support is sponsored by Verizon Wireless. The Padres are up in LA getting set for game 1 of their series tonight against the Dodgers. It's going to be Randy Vasquez versus Roki Sasaki. First pitch is set for 7:10. World Cup, we have one final from earlier. Spain defeated Austria 3-0, and Portugal and Croatia are about to get underway. Every now and then you'll find a deal that actually feels like a win. With Straight Talk Wireless, you'll get more and pay less. Now that's a good deal. No contracts, no credit checks, no surprises. All on Verizon's 5G network. Find it in the same place you've always found straightforward prices, exclusively at Walmart and straighttalk.com.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. Sean Schaefer and San Diego's own Allen Sliwa. Your Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, hour 2, Schaefer and Sliwa. Speaking of hour 2 of Schaefer and Sliwa, it's day 2 officially for San Diego State in the new look Pac-12. A long time coming. And JD Wicker is with us right now, San Diego State's athletic director. It is officially official. San Diego State now a Pac-12 member. JD, obviously, first of all, thank you for coming on. And we've talked about this at length over the last 18 or so months. But what is it now like, and what does this represent for the university and for the athletic department as a whole? And great to have you on.
Yeah, appreciate the time. A lot of excitement on campus and in the community that we're finally in the Pac-12. Obviously, we've been working on this for a long time, and it's really fulfilling to finally have it here and know that we're taking that next step in the college athletics world.
JD, I know first step is probably getting to this moment. I'm sure this obviously means a lot for you, the university, and there's a lot of excitement about what the Pac-12 is today. But can you help just paint the vision? What are you hoping for over the next a handful of years, and how San Diego State and how the Pac-12 grow together?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for us is we feel that we are closer to the conferences above us now than we ever have been. We feel like the Pac-12 is, from a football and a basketball standpoint, those sports that get, the most attention out there, that we're going to be very competitive. We feel like we have a better shot at making the college football playoff coming out of the Pac-12 than we ever have before. And obviously the basketball, as you look at the success of the teams on the basketball side, we're looking forward to great runs in the NCAA men's basketball tournament. So I think you start with those two things as drawing the most attention, the better opportunity from a TV standpoint. We're going to be seen on more TV sets than we ever have been before. So you put all of that together, and the rest of it, comes along with it. We're excited.
JD Wicker, San Diego State's athletic director. Of course, this is the home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760, and SDSU is now officially a Pac-12 member. We had talked about the television times for football being disclosed well in advance compared to what we had seen previously in the Mountain West. Like, you already know every start time for every Aztec home game at Snapdragon Stadium in 2026. A, what do you make of those times? And B, how advantageous is that for you to know that for the fan base as well?
Yeah, I think the biggest piece is knowing everything outside of, I think for Flex Week, there's still, we're going to work through that once we get, who's going where. But you can plan your weekends now. You don't have to wait until 10 days before, or even some days or some weeks, 5 or 6 days before, to know that, okay, our game's going to be at 7:00. So we can, do whatever we need to do during the day and then get to the stadium and start tailgating and all that, as opposed to, all right, is it going to be at 12:30? Is it going to be at 4:00? Is it going to be at 7:00? That really, that hurts your opportunities when you don't know those times. So, we're excited about it. Thought we might have a few more earlier starts, but, it's 7:00 is great. Gives you an opportunity to do everything you do during the day, and then, get to the game and have a lot of fun.
JD, I want to follow up on something. You were talking about the college football playoff and how being in the Pac-12, you feel like you're closer in the sense of the competition in the Pac-12. I've heard now Sean Lewis, I've heard yourself, I've heard Caleb Davis, obviously the general manager for San Diego State football. All of you guys have talked about how that football program, the opportunity there, and a chance to, like you said, be a part of this mix. And we know how popular college football is. What do you make of where the program sits today? And just kind of, I guess, for those people who are out there that are looking forward to this upcoming football season, what can you tell us about how SDSU lines up in that Pac-12?
Yeah, I think, we've conference championships are the expectation at San Diego State to compete for those, year in and year out. And I think you look at the success we've had over the last 15 years across all of our sports, but in football, so that's the expectation. Obviously, we, had a rough couple years prior to last year. But Sean now going into year 3 and how he's established the program and, what we have coming back on the offensive side of the ball, we feel like we're going to be really good there and really get Aztec fast going. And we've been very good on the defensive side of the ball always. So, the expectation that it may take a game or two for that unit to gel, especially with Demetrius having his first opportunity to, as a defensive coordinator and call the plays, but fully expect them to, again, be a solid unit. And, knowing those two things and knowing where we were last year, we feel comfortable that we're going to have an opportunity to be competing for the championship at the end of the year.
JD Wicker again with us right now on San Diego Sports 760. Aztec football is now just about 2 months away as a member of the Pac-12. And we've talked with you about this before as well, but for our listeners that are thinking about the upcoming fall, like, what is the significance of impacting San Diego State football by being in the building at Snapdragon Stadium? We see it at Viejas Arena. We see that support. What's it going to mean to continue to get that building and fill that building in 2026 and beyond?
Yeah, I think again, we've seen what it means at Viejas, the home court advantage that it gives you. And, we've seen that at sometimes in, Aztec football history as well. Mm-hmm. But I mean, more than anything, to continue to be competitive and relevant at the top of the Pac-12 going forward, of, college athletics and all those things, we've got to get people in the building. People have to start showing up for Aztec football and buying tickets because that's the best way for us to continue to invest in our program. So, we've got the best stadium in college football. Seat for seat, it's as good as any, pro stadium out there. So, you can't sit there and say it's not a great environment to be in. And we've got a great product to put on the field. And we've listened to the fans. We've lowered season ticket prices. We've lowered single game ticket prices. We've got great tailgating opportunities. You've got the River Park block party. There really is no excuse for our fan base to, show up and prove what SDSU athletics can be going forward.
Well, I know we've all had conversations about it. It is kind of, in a sense, it is a little bit of a sleeping giant in San Diego. And I think we all understand. I think you had mentioned this to us, JD, this a couple weeks or probably a couple months ago now, that we were down in Chula Vista and you were out there as well in Otay. And I remember you said something in the sense of if we could get that stadium where it needs to be, and obviously the significance of the football program, if that becomes the place to be on a Saturday night or a Saturday afternoon, that it really can change the landscape of San Diego State University, and would love for you to kind of expand on that.
Yeah, again, if you're 30,000 plus strong in the stadium and, giving us the true home field advantage, investing in our program so that we can turn around and invest in our student athletes, that gives us the opportunity to continue to grow. And again, I think everybody knows, we're waiting to see if the Protect College Sports Act is going to get through Congress or not. But one way or the other, we've got a 3 to 5 year time window before the Pac-12 grant of rights comes up again, the Big Ten, the Big 12, the NCAA basketball tournament. That's when you're going to see, kind of the next spasm of college athletics. So this opportunity to go and be really successful in the next 3 to 5 years allows us to figure out how we're going to take that next step in college athletics. And, my hope is it's the Pac-12 expanding, adding some great teams coming back to the West Coast that allow us to continue to be competitive at this top level.
JD, what is the potential impact specifically for those that might be unaware? That would be myself included. But if an act is passed legislatively, right, through Congress, what's the impact on San Diego State potentially? I'm sure there's some unknowns in there, but what's the potential impact on San Diego State?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is one, it allows us to create eligibility rules. So we've recently passed the 5 for 5. You've got 5 years, and you can play all 5 years, but you have to. Your clock starts, no later than your 19th birthday. So you've got that window when student athletes can be in college, and then it allows us to set transfer rules. That the bill specifically calls out one free transfer, which is what we had for a minute before somebody went and got an injunction in front of a judge, and that allows you to really build your program better. We don't have the constant free agency that we see now, and I was talking with somebody recently who's an SEC football fan, and their comment was the transfer portal is stealing my joy of college athletics, because you don't know who's on your team each year. And that's one of those things that is extremely popular right now. But if we continue like we are, do we tip it the other way and people, start to lose interest because they never know who's going to be on their team or not? So the bill would do that. It would codify House, which would, the House settlement, which would, really, the rev share cap is the rev share cap. And then it would allow you to really kind of tamp down on that above the cap NIL and make sure that it's legitimate NIL deals that the student athletes are doing. And there's a lot of other things, but those are probably the biggest pieces for us.
JD, final one from me. A couple days ago, you guys had a cornhole event down outside of a Snapchat. How's your cornhole game?
Not very good.
Okay.
I was smart enough to claim that I had a bad elbow, and I watched from afar, especially watching. Sean Lewis is very good at bags, as he calls them. He was, I don't know how he finished, but he was definitely very talented. I told him I was impressed that he picked something that he could be so good about. He's good at. He's like, there's a reason we're not surfing.
It's kind of fascinating that Sean Lewis. I can see it though. He's got like the long arms, so I feel like he's closer to like the
Midwest.
other side.
I mean,
Midwest.
Cornhole's kind of a Midwest thing.
Yeah,
so that's where it really got cranked up.
I like you claiming early on, like, guys, I'm out 10 to
15 days,
2 to 4 weeks. I'm out.
JD, my final one before I was going to say my final one before you go is about the announcement the Pac-12 made that the Pac-12 men's and women's basketball tournament will be played at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. And the format, I don't know exactly how to describe it, maybe a double bye format, like more of a ladder tournament that we've seen before in other conferences. What's your reaction to the way that the conference tournament in men's and women's basketball will play out this March?
I'm excited to be at the MGM Grand. I think that's a great place for us. It's a good venue, got, nice amenities. So it's, probably about the right size. So I think that's going to work out for us. I'm interested to see how the format works out. I'll be honest, it's my favorite format. We ended up settling on. Dutch and I had a lot of conversation about it. He was good with it. If you finish first and second in the league, you've got a really big advantage. You're fourth, you have a bye into the quarterfinals. I personally think our league is deep enough that just having a traditional model is kind of where I was, but we'll see how this works out. And if we finish first or second, I'm sure I'll be jumping up for joy and saying we're really smart for creating this model.
Yeah, I would have gone, by the way, to your point, I would have just said have 8 play 9 and then 1, 8, 2, 7, 3, 6, 4, 5 and be done with. Because what are the odds? Like the 1 seed Gonzaga or San Diego State, okay, you get upended by the 8 seed and you're out of the NCAA tournament. I find that very unlikely. So I don't really know overly what it's protecting.
Yeah, I think it's, it's RPI, it's seeding.
Yeah, true.
It's, those types of elements. Yeah. But again, the league should be deep enough that, we've shown that, we can put 3, 4, 5 teams in the league. And if you're into the tournament, and if you're doing that, then, one RPI game in the tournament shouldn't be that big of an impact at that time of year. But that's, we're where we're at, and I'm fine with that as well.
They didn't call me. They did call you, but they didn't call me. JD, congrats on everything. Sure. We're excited for football. Just weeks away on the Mesa, and San Diego State now a member of the conference. Appreciate you doing it. Have a great 4 later in July.
I will do it, y'all, as well, and I will give a to one, the love of my life, Rachel Wicker, has a birthday tomorrow. So happy early birthday to Rachel. Love and it always makes for a great 4th of July weekend. I hope y'all have one as well.
That's awesome. Great stuff. Happy birthday to, again, Rachel Wicker, and thank you to JD Wicker for joining us here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, Darren Smith is going to join us at 4:30. We'll talk about the U.S. advancing make of the red card handed out last night to Team USA that will impact them in that round of 16 game against Belgium.
Just do everything on a replay now moving forward. Don't even have referees anymore.
You don't even need them.
You don't need them.
Or do you? All right, we'll discuss on the other side. Schaefer and Slee will stay with us. All right, DraftKings is live in all 50 states. Yes, that means you, California, win or go home. That's it. That's the knockout round, and DraftKings has you covered for every single match.
The DraftKings app is now live in California, so whether you're catching the early kickoff before work or the late match at the bar, you're in on every minute, every match, every moment, all in one app. Right here in California, the world's biggest stage. It's in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers, sign up with the code SD760. Spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards over 21 days. That's code SD760.
In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year.
San Diego Sports 760, your home for live coverage of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Get daily match updates from the opening match to the final July 19th. Hear live play-by-play the most anticipated games in every USA match. The 2026 World Cup coverage lives on San Diego Sports 760.
All right, looking forward to Darren Smith joining us live coming up at 4:30. We can get into Padres Dodgers, state of the Padres, plus obviously last night for Team USA. Historic night. Honestly, they haven't moved on much in the history of the World Cup, but they do advance at home. But they do it
deceiving. The whole thing is deceiving right now
because of the round of 32 element. That's
because
fair.
I just say that not to burst everybody's bubble, but when I see everybody say it's the first time they've advanced in the single elimination, I'm like, wait a minute, it's round of 32. Everybody used to advance
completely
from the round of 16.
Completely fair. Now, here's what I was going to say, and we'll see what happens against Belgium, and that's regardless of whether they have their star striker or not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I do not fully understand the interest. Seen it and I've slowed it down. The fact that this star striker is unavailable moving forward in the round of 16 as a result of what they saw on this VAR replay system in slow motion, to me seems absurdly egregious. Now, again, I don't know if I have the expertise or insight on it. But no, I think
there's
I'm missing
common sense.
But it's like I think I'm missing like the rest of the free world. Like what played out here.
I'll tell you, and obviously watching the game live, they say, all right, they're going to go check the replay on it. Is this a red card offense? And if you listen to the broadcasters, and if you listen to Thierry Henry after the game, if you listen to Zlatan, if you listen to every one of these former soccer players that are saying, hey, listen, we can tell you whether this should be a red card or it should not. Nobody thought it should be a red card. So I think, and this is one thing that I don't understand with soccer. I think it's the dumbest rule in the world that because imagine in the NBA, you got a flagrant foul or you got 2 techs and you were ejected from this game and now you can't play in the next game. Why should this game have any effect on the next game unless it was something, obviously that warranted it? It makes no sense to me how they thought it was deliberate and he was trying to step on some dude's ankle and basically cleat him. He clearly wasn't. So it obviously hurts the United States big time for the next game. And now this is going to be the first real match that the U.S. has. What I mean by that is they're taking on a country that actually will have expectations of winning that game in Belgium.
Yeah. And the crazy part about all of it, and like in some of the reaction last night was like, none of this can even be appealed in any way, shape, or form. Like what has been determined during the match has been determined. There's no appellate or review system. And it kind of is what it is. In fact, I'll use this analogy or this comparison. In college football, when you have targeting in the second half of a game, they do throw you out of the first half of the next game. By the way, they've now eliminated that for the upcoming year because it was seen as being kind of egregious. Like what did the penalty in this game have to do with the upcoming game?
You can get suspended for something.
You could punch someone in the face.
If you get a fight in an NBA game, I get it. You're out 2 to 3 games. If there's a brawl in baseball, I get it. Not that.
Yeah. So it is a bit of like a black cloud over the celebration of advancing to the round of 16.
It is. I agree.
And now you're left thinking to yourself, well, is this going to be the difference between them moving on or not? And I don't know if it's that simplistic or not.
But it's almost as if it's like you won a playoff game, but somebody went down with an injury. And it's like, example. I want to celebrate, but I can't really celebrate because I know it's going to affect us for the next game.
Musgrove against the Braves in 2024. You win that series, but you don't have them in the next series against the Dodgers. And it was very consequential.
Laureano right before the playoffs. Absolutely.
Yes, in 2025.
So there are more. That's my comp that I have. But I go back to this and, I think I'm still trying to figure this out in the world of soccer. And again, you and I are enjoying the World Cup. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
But that was you're talking about you can't review it, any of that stuff. That's just that's a rule in soccer that doesn't make all the sense in the world. And we'll kind of find out. I mean, this is how soccer is played. So it's not like this is uncommon for a lot of these players. They know the rules, they understand it. They might say that it's not justified, but they get Belgium in the next round, and it's going to be now we're ready for some real matchups.
Dude. In the final 16 nation standing, you have all 3 hosts. Canada already advanced. Mexico, we saw the other day before the U.S. advanced. Now they've got this massive showdown with England and Mexico City.
Amazing.
Insane. And then Team USA and Belgium coming up as well in Seattle in the round of 16. How about that, though, for theater? All three of the host nations are among the final 16 standing.
Very cool.
And you got to think at least one of them, I don't think this is far-fetched, will make it to the quarterfinal round out of Mexico, the U.S. I would like to think at least one of them will advance. We'll talk to Darren Smith about it all on the other side, plus about the Padres beginning a 4-game series with the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. There was an injury and a significant one involving the Padres. We'll share that with you coming up if you're not aware. Plus, Darren Smith joining us live on the other side. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. The Padres and Dodgers are getting set for game one of their series tonight in LA. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going for San Diego and Roki Sasaki going for LA. First pitch is at 7:10. In other Padres news, Jason Adam has been moved to the 15-day IL with a right shoulder strain, and their Padres have reinstated German Marquez from the 15-day IL. We got one final from earlier in the World Cup. Spain defeated Austria 3-0. And right now, Portugal and Croatia have no score. And party at your own place this summer during the July 4th deals at Lowe's. Save $80 on a select Charbroil Performance Series gas grill, now $299, and get up to 45% off select major appliances. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
All right, there is a ton to discuss with Darren Smith, who's kind enough to join us this afternoon as we get ready for the 4th of July. Of course, Padres, Dodgers, U.S. moving on in the World Cup. I don't know if you heard, Darren, our conversation we had a few minutes ago. I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I don't really know. I see how it plays out yesterday, this red card that's issued, and all of the discussion on it. You know me, I don't fully know the nuances and the intricacies of the sport. You do. Take us through this moment, how it played out, the impact it's going to have on Team USA, and what you thought of it. And thanks for joining us.
Of course. I'm actually pretty much right where you guys were 2 weeks ago. I'm on 3rd Avenue in Chula Vista.
Oh, amazing.
Stepped out from watching Portugal and Croatia.
Yeah.
So thanks for the invite. You know, you guys are not alone. I mean, you're not alone in this, in that there is confusion about it. So even longtime fans and journalists around the sport are disagreeing about how this rule should have been applied or whether it should have been applied at all. And to me, this is one of the major flaws of video reviews in all sports. When you still have some sort of debate, whether it's a catch in the NFL, whether it's a flagrant foul in the NBA, some of the things that we've talked about in baseball, to me, that is a glitch in the system. We're searching for something that can't be achieved, which is perfection in sports. Now, if you're asking me for my personal opinion, when I saw it and I saw it on the replay, I said to myself, that's going to be a red card. And it's unfortunate. I don't think there was any intent from Balogun on the play, but I've watched enough to know that referees will call that because it's a potential ankle breaker, leg breaker. I don't think he did it on purpose. I feel safe in saying that. I think it was getting physical for sure, which is the way that Bosnia wanted to play the match, but it's not about intent. It's kind of like a flagrant foul. Sometimes when you see a taller player going for a rebound, looking to box out, he swings his elbows around. If he elbows another guy in the face, he wasn't trying to do it, but the rules of the NBA are that it is a flagrant foul, and so the player gets kicked out and maybe suspended, and now Balogun's out for the remainder of that one, obviously, yesterday, and he's going to be suspended for the game against Belgium, which stinks.
Darren, you know, I say this with all due respect to the World Cup, but once we got to these round of 32 and now getting to the round of 16, I feel like the World Cup is really, really starting, right? It's going into another gear. Let's just, obviously Balogun out for the next game. He gets red carded. USA's got Belgium. What do you make of how USA, I guess you could say, the path of getting here, and then this matchup, which it feels like, okay, hey, this is going to be one of the real opponents that they're going up against. And what are you expecting in that game?
Yeah, I mean, they're getting tougher every time. And that's kind of what the point of this is. That's the way it should be, right? You shouldn't be facing some of the minnows of the world when you're getting to the round of 16. So it's also a credit to the teams that are advancing that, also Belgium hasn't faced a team like this either. So this will be Belgium's best opponent. This will be the U.S.'s best opponent. I don't think there's any real question about that. But Belgium finds itself in an interesting spot. It's hard to know exactly how this whole tournament would have played out if it was just strictly 32 teams. This is not a great Belgium team. This is a team that in 2022 didn't make it out of the group stage. It's a team in 2018 in Russia that made it, I want to say, to the semifinals, and that was what they considered to be their golden generation. So some of those players are still on the squad. They really haven't gotten much younger. There's not a lot of new blood there. I think, replacing Balogun is the big question. And for the first time in a long time, when you lose a player like this, it hasn't always been the case that the U.S. has had options. So, and none of the options are as good as him, but there are options. And we do have a coach now that has been creative and that has tried different things in some of the friendlies before the World Cup. He tried something different in the match that didn't mean much in standings in Turkey. So, you know, he's got some options here. And you can, I didn't love what I saw from Tim Weah. If he wants to just put another winger out there, he could maybe move Christian Pulisic into the middle. He tried that. It wasn't great. There's a player named Alejandro Zendejas who plays for Club America. I would like to see him get a shot, but he does have some options, and he's shown that he's pulled all the right levers. You know, he's pushed a lot of the right buttons. So it's not every cycle that we can say, oh, my goodness, you might be losing your most impactful player through the first 4 matches of the World Cup. I mean, that's the thing that we don't even talk about ever. Like, we're through 4 matches of the World Cup with 3 wins. It's never happened before. But now you lose a player, and instead of the sky falling, you're feeling like, okay, it sucks. It really, you know, a player who's got 3 goals, but what are the options that lie ahead? And they're real. Like, they're real players that are on this roster who are not as good, but it's not as hopeless as it might have been in previous cycles.
Darren Smith with us right now. We're talking about the World Cup. Obviously, we'll get into Padres and Dodgers coming up as well. How do you see, I guess I would ask it like this. Do you see it as more likely that Team USA moves on or more likely that Mexico moves on?
Oh, man, what a question. We had this conversation with my buddy Eric Gomez, who's in Mexico City, and we sort of took it from the angles of a U.S. supporter and a Mexican supporter. And you know, I think the U.S. has a better chance of moving on. But it's only because England is so good and they're one of the favorites in the tournament. But the great equalizer is they have to go and play at elevation, and there's just no way that you can prepare for that. You can prepare for a lot of things. You can prepare for teams that want to play defensively. You can prepare for teams that want to play open. You can prepare for teams that have great goal scorers or great goal prevention. But you cannot prepare for what they're in store for when they get to Mexico City. I mean, you just cannot prepare for that. That city is, it's unbelievable to see some of these images on social media. And I love what they do outside of the hotels where it's like the big boom outside of the visiting team hotel. And the elevation, I take it from me, you know, listen, you guys want to talk about red cards and elevation. I'm the right guy. I'm an SDFC broadcaster. I've seen a million red cards. I haven't seen the team play at elevation twice. So I will always remember just, you know, being at Toluca and looking at the SDFC players. They're like, you know, you cannot prepare for this. There's nothing you can do. I mean, the only way to prepare for it, and John, you know this a little bit because of all the time that you spend with SDSU basketball. You know, in a perfect world, you go and spend a week there, but you don't have that kind of time. So England's going to go in there. It's only going to be 48 hours. It's not going to be enough time to get your body used to the elevation. And, you know, everybody's body responds differently. But, you know, that England match was, you know, nip and tuck all the way up until the 85th minute and all the way up until the final whistle. So those guys are maybe going to be a little taxed physically. And now they got to go play in a place that is, I mean, a cauldron. I mean, you've seen the scenes from Mexico City, right? And now they're also going to have to play at elevation. So I give them both a good shot. I think the U.S. probably has better odds, though, just because I'm not a big believer in Belgium.
Darren Smith taking some time to join us here, Schaefer and Sliwa Show. Darren, we'll shift gears here and talk a little bit about how do you want to look at this? The 23-3 loss yesterday, the matchup coming up against the Dodgers. I'll ask you this. I think that if you were trying to look at this optimistically and say that the Padres are going to stick around in this wild card race, can you give me some reasons of why you think they can hang around over the course of, I know we're under 30 days up until the trade deadline, but just in general, how they can keep their head above water and try to stay in the mix here?
Probably the same answer that we've all said, which is that the offense at some point has to click with more than 1 or 2 players at a time. I don't believe that with my heart. I mean, you're just asking me to make the case, right? Like when I was in college, I was in debate class and you used to have to make irrational arguments for silly things. But I guess maybe that's it. You know, maybe these guys feel like, is there any pride in that clubhouse? Are they feeling challenged by fans? Are they feeling challenged by their coaching staff? Are they feeling challenged by each other? is there any reason for them to put up a fight, especially against the Dodgers? Or are they just going to roll over? Are they just going to roll over and essentially indicate that the second half of the season isn't going to be worth our emotional investment? I would like to think that they have some pride. I would like to think that some of these guys are not as bad as what their numbers have been through the first half of the regular season, but I probably wouldn't bet my life on that.
No, nor would I. I know you talked about it today on Prior Territory, but like how much of the focus is that, like, I guess, is it more on Stammen? Is it more on Preller? And like, if this goes the way it has been going, how safe, I wonder, is AJ Preller with the new ownership group?
Well, I mean, that's the great unknown. Ultimately, a new owner, I think, is going to come in at some point.
Right.
I mean,
good point.
I guess. And if that owner thinks that AJ Preller is a good president of baseball operations and, can rebuild this and rejigger this a little bit, then I think AJ Preller stays. If he feels like, hey, listen, this is a window that is closed and this guy was compatible with the previous owner and, we have different philosophical ambitions, then, AJ Preller, thank you. I mean, that's essentially how AJ got his job, back in 2014 is the owners that were there inherited Josh Burns, and they just decided we don't really like this guy. This guy isn't for us. This guy is too pragmatic, and we want to light a fire under the fan base, so we need somebody that's going to go out there and be active on the trade market. And so they went out there and they found that guy, an AJ Preller. And so they kicked Josh to the curb, and that's how AJ got his gig. And that's a tale as old as time, guys. As you both know, I mean, new leadership comes in and any line of work, not just sports or baseball, then sometimes the guys go, hey, listen, who do we feel like has parallel ambitions? And if they feel like Preller can be that kind of person, then I think he stays. And the worrying thing for me, actually, and if I'm going too long here, please cut me off.
You're good.
But, I read the Daily today, Kevin Acey's Padres Daily, and that quote from Craig Stammen about, like, pointing fingers and such.
Yep.
I mean, you're the manager of the team. Like, that's something that a player says. It's like, hey, we're not going to be pointing fingers in here. I'm not going to be pointing fingers in here. Like, I think that's part of your job, is not to throw players under the bus publicly, but you are there to literally point a finger at the things that aren't working, identify them, and change them and fix them. And I do worry that he's a guy that we all know the backstory of how he came to be here, but that he's still a little too chummy player mentality. I'm one of the guys in the clubhouse, because you need a general manager and a manager that are going to identify the things that aren't working and figure out a way to fix them. And it's not scapegoating. It's saying, we've got to do better than this and we got to improve in this area. And it was a little bit of a troubling quote for me to hear that from Stammen. I don't have a lot of confidence that he really knows how to turn this around as a manager. As a player, okay. Like, we're not going to point fingers, right? Bullpen guys aren't going to be pointing at offense. We're all in this together.
Right.
But your job as the coach is to figure that out and to identify, where the issues are and to make it better. And I don't know. I don't know if he's got the stomach for it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's interesting, Darren, because I could sit here and say, as we, start that conversation, it was going back to Preller. It's like, all right, Preller, why'd you put him there then? Right. And I think that this is maybe part of the frustration here, and we'll see what happens. And philosophically, if new ownership wants to take a different approach, just real quick here, what is the balance? And I know that neither you and I are going to be hired to run a baseball team today, or at least I won't. Maybe you have a much better shot at doing that. But what's the balance here, do you think, when you look at AJ Preller, how he's navigated this franchise? When new ownership comes in, what is the model that you think is too aggressive here, not aggressive enough, give up the players in your farm system, hold on to them? What's the balance? And what would you like to see when new ownership comes from a philosophical standpoint?
Well, I think Preller is capable of building back up through the farm system. I don't think he is singularly addicted to trading away prospects for big league players, but I think that he built a team that was that planned to compete, and then he did what he had to do, or what he thought was right to do, with his farm system and with his 26-man roster to optimize that team to try to make a run for the World Series. And if that window's still open, then it should show itself here at some point. But it doesn't appear that way to me. So I think you could say, AJ, like, can we untangle ourselves from some of this? You know, can we rebuild this back up? Can we add players through the farm system? Can you do that? I think the answer would be yes. I mean, I think AJ was there to execute a plan that was sort of the concept of the previous owner, may he rest in peace, which was we had this opportunity to win and we should go for it. And they went for it, and they made big trades in 2022. They made big trades even last year. You know, and you can look at it and say, well, hey, listen, he didn't get over the hump, and that's fine. If you want to judge him on that, I think that's perfectly fair. But I think he thought he had opportunities to win, and he took some big swings, and they didn't come through in the way that they had hoped or imagined. So I think he's multifaceted. I mean, I don't think he's just addicted to trading away a bunch of players. I think that was sort of just the style and the structure and what they were asking him to do. But if you ask him to show a little bit more patience and discipline and build through a farm system, I think he's capable of doing it. I just don't know that he's going to get that opportunity.
Really good insight, as always. And that's why we call on you, Darren. So thank you, man, for doing it. And have a great 4th. It should be an amazing weekend, obviously, for soccer fans. I don't know about baseball fans locally, but certainly for soccer fans. So thanks for doing it. Have a great 4th, man. And we'll do it again soon.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great 4th.
Thank you stuff from Darren Smith. We'll react to that on the other side. The wrap coming up at 5 p.m. If you missed Alden Gonzalez, you'll hear him at 5:30 on Schaefer and Sliwa. All right, Schaefer and Sliwa, wrap coming up at 5 p.m. Alden Gonzalez, ESPN baseball reporter at 5:30. Did you see this on social media, Alan?
What do you
got? See that?
What's up?
Mexico's last 89 home matches at Azteca. How many losses they have?
89.
Yeah, that's what was on social. In their last 89 matches at Azteca as a national team, how many times have they lost? 10, 4, 29.
I'll go. The number's got to be remarkably low.
89 matches.
5.
5 times they've lost, right?
And then ties and everything
ties
else.
in there. I mean, you'd think more than that. I mean, 89. How could you lose only 5 times? They've lost twice.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah, we're sure about that. Now, that's social media. Mexico, here, look up Mexico incredible. 89. Mexico has lost 2 games in its last 89 matches played at the Estadio Azteca. That's over 56 years as a national team.
Oh my!
They lost in 2001 to Costa Rica. They lost in 2013 to Honduras.
I love I love what Darren said about the equalizer. It's like, no, England can win the whole thing, but they're playing at the Azteca. They're playing high elevation.
Dude, yesterday we had USD's head coach on. It's like, he's like, the thing with elevation they may not realize, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, like, you get there too quick and you're hurting yourself. Like, ideally, you are in and out of Mexico City. The elevation doesn't impact your body in the same manner as if you just sit in it. So it's really going to be fascinating to see, like, the game within the game. I
don't like how the Azteca, their final game is in the round of 16.
Right?
What are we doing?
We were talking about that.
What are we doing?
No quarterfinals in Mexico or Canada?
You got it. Why even a quarterfinal?
Talking final or semifinal?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about one of the most iconic soccer stadiums in the world. You're here. They're in Mexico, the United States, and Canada. Can we not pretend like Jersey is supposed to be the place that's supposed to be hosting this thing?
Right, right.
There's no city in the United States of America that's going to have the history or the tradition or the atmosphere that the Azteca would have. I'm disappointed in that. And I know that's not how the world works. And I know that there's other factors that come into play, but that's disappointing.
You don't want to see a final at MetLife Stadium, home of the Giants and the Jets? It's going to be special.
So special at MetLife. Remember that
the
one time?
Soccer venue.
Do you remember that? Remember that?
Oh, you better believe I do. By the way, we didn't share this earlier as the Padres get ready for the Dodgers. They've lost 5 straight. Yep. San Diego has. Jason Adam, right? Adding insult to injury. Jason Adams, very dependable, reliable reliever for the Padres the last couple of years, other than injury, has been placed on the IL.
Right shoulder strain.
Yeah, so he's dealing with the shoulder. His numbers haven't been as effective as we know. But, like, it's not getting better right now. No. Darren
when it
brought
rains
up some great
pours too, I think that has something to do with it.
And Darren made some great points, like, is Craig Stammen the man to get them out of this mess right now?
Yeah, you know, the one thing I get what Darren was trying to say. This is where I'd push back a little bit on the Stammen part about, you know, we're not pointing fingers, this and that. I think there's a piece of these managers, they're going to BS their answers. Like, I think, what is he, I don't know if he wanted Craig Stammen to say, or you could tell me what you feel about this as well. It's like, I get it. He is the manager, and you want to. If you could say a lot of things about Craig Stammen, and I'm okay with. But I think some of the communication with reporters or with the media, I just don't. I think a lot of these guys beat around the bush. I think they're not going to give you what you want to hear.
Yeah,
and Schilt was probably the best example.
Yeah, he
of that.
Probably was. There was a quote. Did you see it yesterday? It was in Kevin's postgame article, and I don't have it in front of me. But it was from Gavin Sheets, something along the line of, I know this, we need to, like, bring more energy. Because he said, I shouldn't have to say this, but it goes without saying, we need to bring more energy into this upcoming Dodger series. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Because what you're saying, the silent part out loud, is you didn't bring it against the Cubs. Therefore, you do need to bring it against the Dodgers. And here's the other point. Don't just get up for the Dodger series. The Cubs series are just as meaningful, if not more meaningful. And I hate that mentality of, like, we got to bring it for the Dodgers. No, you had to bring it, and you didn't. And you cost yourself.
Yeah, I think if there's an example of a year where the Dodger-Padres season is so irrelevant, it's this year. Because they truly are 2 different franchises. And they truly are, you know, the goals are so wildly different right now. Like you said, you play a series against the Cubs. you're desperate. You need the series. I mean, you're doing everything you can to win 2 or 3 moving forward here, just so you could stay in this wild card race. And whether you're playing Arizona or the Cubbies or St. Louis or go down the list of all these teams in the NL, Stammen's in an interesting spot. And I think this is the thing I'm going to always go back to. This man has never managed before in his professional life, and whatever he did as a player is wildly different than as a manager. If he's trying to be buddy-buddy with these guys, what's the personal relationship? Whether it's fair or not, we're always going to kind of look at this stuff and judge it from a view of, does this guy know what he's doing? What does he think about this situation, this predicament? He's never been through any of it.
And I even like the additional distinction of not only has he not managed, he hasn't coached. Hasn't been on a bench. He hasn't been in those roles at all. And then he's elevated all the way to manager. All right. The wrap is on the other side. Alden Gonzalez from ESPN on this Padres-Dodgers series and the state of the Padres at 5:30. We are here until 6 on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. DraftKings is live in all 50 states. Yes, that means you, California, win or go home. That's it. That's the knockout round. And DraftKings has you covered for every single match.
The DraftKings app is now live in California, so whether you're catching the early kickoff before work or the late match at the bar, you're in on every minute, every match, every moment, all in one app. Right here in California, the world's biggest stage. It's in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers, sign up with the code SD760. Spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards over 21 days. That's code SD760.
In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim, issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends July 19th. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo.
This report is sponsored by the San Diego Wave FC. Padres are up in LA getting set for game 1 of their series tonight against the Dodgers. It's going to be Randy Vasquez on the hill for the Friars and Roki Sasaki going for the Dodgers. First pitch is set for 7:10. In other Padres news, they moved Jason Adam to the 15-day IL today with a right shoulder strain and reinstated German Marquez from the 15-day IL. World Cup, we got one final from earlier. Spain defeated Austria 3-0, and right now at halftime, there's no score between Portugal and Croatia. Celebrate America's 250th anniversary with the San Diego Wave FC. Join in on Saturday, July 4th for Wave FC versus Gotham FC with kickoff set for 5:45. Enjoy $1 hot dogs, a live band, and fun for the whole family. Tickets just $20. Get yours today at SanDiegoWaveFC.com.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. Sean Schaefer and San Diego's own Allen Sliwa. Your Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, final hour of Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. If you missed Alden Gonzalez from ESPN, you'll hear a conversation coming up at 5:30. We haven't gotten to the wrap as of yet, Alan. Did you realize that?
I did not. I know we haven't got to the wrap, but I almost didn't realize it through the flow of the show. We had a busy show so far.
We've had a busy show.
The Jason Adam news is another just kind of another killer right there.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, when it rains, it pours.
It does. And we'll see tonight.
Yeah.
The Dodgers tonight, we'll get into the wrap, are 2-1 favorites. They're minus 200 at home tonight, turning to Roki Sasaki. Randy Vasquez has really struggled. We saw him against the Dodgers the last time out.
Yep.
And had that terrible inning, part of a 9-run inning. All right, let's get to it.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Do you think the 76ers will be better than the Celtics this year?
All right, so they just make the trade for Jaylen Brown. The Boston Celtics get a powerhouse in Paul George, who I think is 36. Is he 36?
It's 49.
I think the Sixers are going to be better. And I will say this, I trust the Celtics organization more, but I think the Sixers will be better. They just got a lot more talent. I mean, we were talking a little bit earlier about the Cavs piece, which team would have a better shot. I think Philly's got a better shot than Cleveland. I think if LeBron's going to make a decision, I agree with you, go to the Eastern Conference. But if you're picking between Miami, Cleveland, Philly, all these other teams that are out there, why not go to Philadelphia? Why not you got so much protection. You got Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, you got Jaylen Brown, you got Joel Embiid. Why not just go there?
You know what's interesting is 3 years ago, the Celtics won the NBA Finals. Last year, the Knicks won the NBA Finals. I mean, could Philadelphia maneuver their way? I mean, think about those teams in the East, the way they all have coincided with each other over the years. But, I don't know if they're the front runner in the East, but if they landed LeBron James, if they did land LeBron James, that would be interesting. Next question.
What's more likely? Team USA beats Belgium or Mexico beats England?
I go USA beats Belgium.
Okay.
Now, both can happen. I love the reasons why England's going to be in some trouble potentially at the Azteca. You were just saying the history there. That place is going to be obviously bonkers. But Belgium really hasn't had that impressive of a tournament. They needed a miraculous comeback and a collapse to win 3-2. Got a penalty kick. What was that? In the 119th minute of extra time.
Very late.
And the United States has been rolling. So I say I got more confidence that the U.S. beats Belgium than Mexico beating England, but I think it has more to do with the opponent.
Yeah, I like that. I'll go with that. And I hope Team USA does find a way to advance, because then your fever pitch at quarterfinals, you're at a fever pitch in America. And I think people already are. I mean, you're talking about, they're saying for this round of 16 game, you could have 30 million plus viewers, which all of a sudden is in rarefied television air, even when you're talking about the NFL by and large. So I hope it's USA. I'd love to see Mexico do it as well. I hope they both advance to the quarterfinal round, but I'll take Team USA as more likely. Next question.
Do you like the NBA's new one free throw rule they're
thing's
proposing?
bizarre.
Yes, that's
NBA's one free throw rule. Okay,
The one free throw rule.
Can we give a little context to it? Do you have it there of some of it? If you don't, it's okay.
I know it.
Okay, go ahead.
If it's an and one, you get one free throw, like you always have in the history of basketball.
It's worth 1 point.
If you get fouled and missed your shot, you get one free throw. If it goes in, it's worth 2 points.
2 points.
If it doesn't go in, it's 0 points. If you get fouled attempting a 3-point shot, you get one free throw. If it goes in, it's worth 3 points. If it does not go in, you get no points. They will use this in the summer league, other than the final 2 minutes and overtime.
Yep. Final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Is the idea here just to speed up the game?
Yes.
How about this for an idea of speeding up the game? How about you stop reviewing every single play and spend 34 minutes reviewing it? How about that for an idea? How about you don't air 37 commercials between every break? No, how about we keep the free throws as is and you find other ways to speed up the game? And trust me, there are plenty of other ways to speed up the game.
Real quick, Brett, before you weigh in. From the mid-1950s until 1982, nobody knows this. People do, but nobody talks about this. Until 1982, the NBA used 3 to make 2 as their free throw policy. You had 3 tries to make 2 shots. If you made your first 2, you got 2 points. If you missed one of the first 2, you'd get a third shot. If you missed your first 2, you'd still get a third shot.
You are a liar.
It actually happened until 1982. I like that more than I like one shot could determine 1, 2, or 3 points. And I don't like either of them. I like what they're doing. That's what I like.
Can I just say this real quick on a strategy? If you thought fouling before players that shoot a poor percentage,
It's a great point, man.
I'm getting into foul trouble with 10 minutes left to go in the third quarter, so I can send Mitchell Robinson to the line.
That's a good point.
The entire game because that one free throw is it's 2 misses.
What did he shoot? Like 17%?
35% or
Was
something?
it that high? What do you got, Brett?
My whole thing is just why? What's the purpose of it? You look in like contrast to like the guys that come up with the new rules in Major League Baseball, whether it's a pitch clock, the ABS, this, bigger bases for stealing and everything.
These were good ideas.
Well, they're ideas that all people wanted and people that helped advance the game.
No one even knows about this.
Exactly.
No
Here's the thing.
There's
I love the NBA. Alan, you love the NBA, but we know it's not perfect. There's things that they can fix. But I've never heard anyone go, it's not load management. It's not the draft for me. It's free throws.
I mean, there are a lot of free throws. But is Amazon
this isn't
like,
going to quell them, though.
Is your TV rights holder like, I know we just gave you $77 billion for the next 11, but I've been meaning to tell you something. Can you change the free throw rule in the league? Like, they already signed the deal. People already go to the games. I don't see it as something
the
that's
best
necessary.
chance. I will tell you this, for many of these games, covering Laker games, 5 years I'm doing pre and post. I'm at every game at Crypto. The one thing that the NBA would do, it's like the most astonishing thing I've ever seen. Imagine your product here. Imagine you're going to a movie and 10 minutes left in the movie, and it's like one of the best parts. They turn on all the lights, and they're like, hey,
Gotta go.
we just need a couple of minutes. We're going to sweep up under you here real quick. Everybody pick up their feet, and then we're going to restart the movie. The most exciting times of the NBA, they stop play for reviews and this and that. They kill the momentum of the game. It ain't going to be free throws. That's not going to be the solution.
I agree. Next question.
What do you think is more likely? The Padres get swept or the Padres split?
Oh, not sweep themselves.
That
was not one of the options on
one
that
of the
list.
two options.
We're not living in crazy town today.
I think more likely they split just because it's baseball and the Dodgers probably are uninterested for a couple of games, maybe. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that's more likely to me. Winning 4 in a row obviously ain't easy. So maybe the most likely is they go 1-3 on this four game road trip. But I would say the split before anything else.
I completely agree. The Dodgers are 56-31. They're 26-14 at home. It's actually not as dominant as I thought they've been, but they are winning 2 out of every 3 games at home. So they've been good, and they still have the best record in the sport, and they are 12 games better than San Diego, if that matters to anyone. So I'm hoping for a split. I will take that. I'm taking that, Allen. I'm signing documents.
We've been saying take it for so long, and nothing has happened.
I'm signing everything away for a 2-2 series.
Yeah, I'm with you on
Which,
that.
by the way, is a 2-5 road trip, but keeps you over 500 by a game. Heading towards the All-Star break, by the way, which is just over about a week away, which is kind of crazy in itself.
Or Portugal, Croatia right now.
Yeah, that's been playing out in Toronto without a score, just underway in the second half.
What's the late game? What do we have late?
Those two teams.
Switzerland and Algeria, I think.
Okay.
All right.
Is that also in Canada? I think it is. I think that might be in Vancouver, Canada, coming up tonight. Now, this weekend, you are going to the Azteca.
No.
Going to Mexico City.
Going to Mexico City.
Just to be in the environment.
Yeah. Plus, I've never been to Mexico City before, so let's give this environment a shot. I'm kind of like I got swooped up in this.
You're in it.
You kind of started it,
Monterrey.
Yeah, but you started it with the original of like, hey, what do you think? I think.
Oh, I said you should go to Mexico City.
No, you started the idea and the concept of going to a World Cup game.
Yeah,
and you're like in Mexico. I'm like, that sounds like the greatest thing I've ever heard of.
And it turned out to be pretty cool. It
was phenomenal. It was awesome. So I'll be in the mix there, but tickets going to be tough. But that's not exactly an easy thing to make happen.
Would you almost prefer though to be in this like the
mix of
slew of people that we've seen play out like in Mexico City in the squares? You'd rather be inside.
Oh yeah.
First of all, where do you go to the restroom or get a bite to eat with 300,000 people?
That's going to be either way. I'm just going to be in that mix. Whatever it looks like, I just want to be in the mix. Honestly, it's kind of like think about this here for a quick second. I don't want to say it's once in a lifetime opportunity, but think about this here for a second.
Basically once in a lifetime opportunity.
Mexico was playing England in the round of 16 at the Azteca. You're facing another, England's got an unbelievable base of just the most rabid fans that you could think of and everything else. So that environment should be pretty awesome.
And by the way, I mean, how often do you get a World Cup? Like it's been 32 years. If we were to fast forward another 32 years, like if I'm around, I'm 78 if it comes back in 32 years. So like this could in fact be a once in a lifetime opportunity for some of these things this summer with the World Cup. All right. If you missed Alden Gonzalez, you'll hear a conversation coming up at 5:30. Padres lineup is out. More on tonight and this weekend for San Diego. A bit of a do or die situation, isn't it, for the Padres who have lost 5 consecutive games? We're here until 6 p.m. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
On America is turning 250 and San Diego Sports 760 is celebrating with $250,000 in cash. Listen for your chance to win. $2,500 so you can take the ultimate American getaway. Visit the states, the cities, landmarks, and national parks that make our country amazing. Win your share of $250,000. Just listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Your next chance to win is coming up after 5 p.m. on San Diego Sports 760.
What are you eating? I'm doing the same. Is it a trail mix combination?
The same trail mix. I get caught off guard.
I know.
And all you could have done is just played it out and just pretend it didn't happen. You're like, what are you eating?
What are you eating right now? Alden Gonzalez, ESPN at 5:30. We should mention, by the way, with Jason Adam going on the IL, old friend Herman Marquez is the one that has been like, he's an old friend or something. Old friend Herman Marquez has been active.
My old buddy.
You know, Herman Marquez. You know, I look at the starting lineup and I'm looking for something to be like, oh, that's interesting. There's really nothing there. Jake Cronenworth is back in the 2-hole. I think he's been batting 9th or 8th for the Padres his first few days back, but he'll bat second and play second tonight for the Padres. I mean, they just
Why do I think they'll win tonight? Why do I think they'll win tonight? Is this the whole thing?
The wishful, hopeful part?
No, I don't even think it's hopeful. I think this is just, I hate when people say it's baseball because it really is like,
it's kind of true.
Yeah, but there's just no way of defining what that means.
So true.
Right? Like there's no substance behind
nothing.
It's baseball. I can't do anything.
Okay, so
that.
You're saying, I think that, why do I feel this way? I think they're going to win. Listen to my reaction. It's baseball. I mean, yes, of course, it's not as simple as that.
It's just thrown around so loosely everywhere in the sport.
Look at it like this, though.
I don't hear anybody ever say it's basketball.
Yeah, they never say that, or it's football. They never. No. Well, they say any given Sunday, right? Any given Saturday, Friday Night Lights. Why am I doing? Why am I?
And what does that have anything to do with what we're
Wednesday night hockey? Here's what I was going to say: bad teams still win 40% of the time in a sport like baseball. So the Padres aren't just going to play the way they have been playing from here on out. They're not going to lose 9 out of 10 games from here on out. It doesn't work like that.
It almost reminds me of like the Braves series coming in. I can't even tell you why, but going into that series, I'm like, why do I'm like, I think they're going to take 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think you did say that.
They ended up sweeping, and it made no sense of why they did it. And again, maybe it's because, you know, that attention. I do think there's less pressure on the Padres when they play in LA than there is in San Diego.
It's interesting.
I do think that. Now, listen, Padres aren't playing good baseball, so it doesn't matter where they play. You let them play in any ballpark. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're not playing good. Stylistically, just like we've talked about, dotting your I's, crossing your T's. But there's a piece of like when things are so bad and so low, that's typically when good things start happening. Maybe that's something. Or they could just lose 9-0 later tonight at Dodger Stadium. Nobody would be
Someone had an amazing point somewhere I saw it, maybe on social media, maybe in our chat on YouTube. They're like, not only do the Padres have the worst offense, they've done it by playing games where other teams haven't had the opportunity. They've played games at Mexico City. They've played at Coors Field. Not everyone's done that already this year. They just played 3 games at Wrigley Field when it was 100 degrees and the wind was blowing out and the Cubs scored 50 runs or whatever. So the Padres have had some launching pad moments in their season. The Mexico City thing's like a pure gift to play 2 games there. Coors Field, Chicago, still. And I did look. Remember when Alden Gonzalez was like, I think last time I looked, they had the worst offense. And they do by, again, on baseball slugging, they remain last in baseball heading into tonight against LA. So the point is.
That's promising. That's awesome.
Nothing has saved their offense. Their offense is as bad as it gets.
That's good. That's really good to hear that. You know, it's funny when we were talking to Darren, I'm like, could I come up with a different question other than what's wrong with the Padres? I'm like, hey, explain to me why you think
he's like, I don't know.
There could be some optimism. He started off with a sigh.
He's like, do I have to?
No. It wasn't even like he was like gathering himself. And then he had to it was like you're challenging somebody. Then he had to go back to, remember in school when we were told to debate the other side?
Like if I have to do it. By the way, though, you know, everyone locally is like, if I mention right now, should the Padres buy at the deadline? Everyone's going to jump down our throat, social media wise and otherwise. But they're not buying. Season's over. They just put up on MLB TV, Major League Baseball Network, whatever this is. Are the Padres a buyer or a seller? I mean, they're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
Are the Padres a buyer or seller? So again, locally, I get it. We're watching every inning. We're like, this team ain't it, sell off parts, what's going on? But you step out and people are like, hey, AJ Preller, you never know.
Here's the problem with that question.
Okay.
Before they went on a 5-game losing streak,
right,
and they swept the Atlanta Braves, and they beat the Dodgers in the first game, the tune of the conversation was different. And if they win 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers,
yep,
and you ask that same question, everyone's going to go with the wind. And that's how we are as fans. I think for you and I, we sit in a unique seat. I think a lot of people would prefer, I don't know if they prefer, but I just can't do it. They want you to be more objective. I can be more objective, but if it's the team that I'm rooting for, there's going to be some fandom that's in there as well. It's impossible. I can't take it out. Yep. That's why I don't, I'm not in the Detroit market or something like that, right? Like I'm in a market where you feel like you got some skin in the game. You care about the market and the teams that you're talking about. We go with the wind.
Yes.
But I will say, the bigger problem, if somebody's saying, why would you buy? That's idiotic. They're not wrong to say that. And somebody that's saying, I think they should sell, I also understand where they're coming from. Like the bigger sale right now is trying to make an argument of don't let go of the rope. That's a tougher argument to make as we sit here today. I think the easier argument is, yeah, this team ain't going anywhere. Don't be foolish and put more into the pot.
Yeah, I like what you said there. And I do think maybe the more important point than buy or sell, even though it's a very easy thing to just discuss this time of year. It's now July. I think it's more important, like, how is the team performing? Like, it's very easy to be like, how do the Padres stack up against the Dodgers? Well, who cares, obviously, based on the way the Padres have played. It's more about, and this isn't the sexiest conversation, but like, how is the team playing? And we know the answer to that. They're playing really poorly. They're playing really poorly.
Every facet of the game.
Yeah.
It's like earlier in the season, we talked more about just the bats. Right. Now the pitching is like, let's help balance this thing out here a little bit.
Right. Like, hey, we
don't want everyone just to be talking about the bats. Let's also talk about the starters.
See if Randy Vasquez can make something of tonight for the Padres in game 1. Much more on the Padres and AJ Preller and his future with Alden Gonzalez from ESPN. He joined us earlier. If you missed that conversation, you'll hear it on the other side. We're getting you ready for game 1 of that series. We're here until 6 p.m. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, hey guys, it is Schaefer for my friends at Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. You got to get out there this July. They've got World Cup watch parties going on right now at Tony Gwynn's Sports Pub. In fact, you can catch every match on the big screen at Tony Gwynn's during their World Cup watch parties, where you can enjoy game day specials, great food, cold drinks, an electric atmosphere for every match. Grab your crew, experience all the action with Jamul, and while you're there, enjoy everything going on at the hotel and spa, where you can experience elevated luxury, their refined hotel stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, all the excitement of Jamul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together in one unforgettable destination. And now take your stay to the next level with exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape. You're going to love their dining options, including Jamul 23 with their lobster buffet every day. Enjoy all you can eat lobster every day, plus dozens of other delicious stations at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
This report is sponsored by FarmSafe 811. The Padres and Dodgers are getting set for game one of their series tonight in LA. It's going to be Randy Vasquez going for the Friars and Roki Sasaki going for the Dodgers. First pitch is set for 7:10. Other Padres news, Jason Adam was moved to the 15-day IL with right shoulder strain, and the team reinstated Herman Marquez from the 15-day IL. World Cup news, we got one final from earlier. Spain defeated Austria 3-0, and right now Portugal and Croatia are tied at 1 apiece. FarmSafe 811 starts with you. Always call 811 and wait for any underground lines to be marked. Always keep safety in the back of your mind and just stay humble. For more information, go to farmsafe811.org.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa. San Diego Sports 760 here until 6. Padres, Dodgers coming up. We had Alden Gonzalez on from ESPN, the great baseball reporter, earlier. We started the conversation asking about the security of AJ Preller. New ownership on the way. The Padres trending in the wrong direction. How safe is the Padres GM?
It's a great and fair question. AJ Preller's been there a long time. He's had a lot of rope to make a lot of moves, to hire a lot of managers, to take on a lot of payroll. And if you take the long view of the Padres, especially looking forward, every single year of the Padres, it's going to be harder and harder for them to contend because their core gets older and simultaneously, in many cases, more expensive because of the way some of those contracts were structured. Mm-hmm. Their farm system gets thinner because they kept trading prospects away for win-now players, and the urgency to win the World Series ratchets it up. Looking at this trying to look at this a little bit more logically, like AJ Preller did sign his extension.
Yep.
And it would be surprising to me that a new ownership group would come in and right away with a GM who just signed an extension, make a move like that. So I guess I would side with he would probably be safe for another offseason. But I mean, AJ Preller and Peter Seidler were very, very tight. And that's no secret. Peter Seidler's not there anymore. The Seidler family is nowhere near as involved as they used to be. And so I think the microscope is going to be on him, no doubt about it. Having said that, though, I think the Padres still have a chance. Their offense is terrible, and their starting rotation looks really bad. And AJ's got his work cut out for him. But I think it's a very fair and valid question.
Alden, what's the? I'm gonna follow up that real quick on Preller. It's been most of our conversation so far today. When you bring up the name AJ Preller around baseball, what are, just give me some of the things that you think come to mind, and it could be great stuff that he's done or just his mentality, and then also things that you think that have more of a negative connotation. What are some of the things that come to mind for you?
Well, I think AJ Preller is like universally regarded as like baseball obsessed and quirky. Like I think even he would say that maybe proudly about himself. I think there's no doubt that AJ Preller is an incredible talent evaluator, and that I think every team in baseball would love for him to run his drafts. But he's also somebody who, and this is, something that a lot of other GMs have commented about with AJ, and it's not a secret, but like he takes a lot of chances. He takes on a lot of risk, and it's been to the benefit of San Diego in the sense that like he has built the Padres into a team that the fans are excited about. And, the reason why Petco Park has become this sort of destination spot, and the reason why they've set all these attendance records have been because Peter Seidler opened up his checkbook and spent a lot of money and locked down stars. But it has also been because AJ Preller brought in those stars. I will say, some of the deals that have really hamstrung the Padres recently, whether it's the Xander Bogaerts contract or the Manny Machado extension, like I don't know how much of those were more Peter than AJ, I think AJ Preller has done his best work, and other people would say this too, when he's been more restricted with the payroll, when he's had to get a little bit more creative. I mean, the offseason when he traded Juan Soto and he had to get back under the luxury tax threshold and they had to cut a bunch of costs, I think he did a really good job. I think he did a really good job last offseason too. But it's gotten to the point now, though, where all these moves that he made in search of star players, because I think that's another thing I should have pointed out earlier. One thing that's universally known about AJ, he loves stars. He subscribes to like this ethos that, and I don't know that he's wrong, but that like superstar talent is what wins in October. So you've seen him empty out the farm system for the Josh Haders and the Juan Sotos and the Mason Millers recently. But all that stuff catches up to you. And if you don't win with those stars in the moment, you pay that bill later. And we're seeing him pay that bill now. And he's going to be paying that bill more and more every year. Because, I mean, just look at the Padres right now. They need 2 bats and 2 starting pitchers. I don't know how they're going to do it. AJ Preller tends to surprise me every trade deadline with what he can do. I thought he did a good job last trade deadline of shoring up a bunch of holes. But that gets harder and harder every offseason because that minor league system gets drier and drier.
That is really well said. Alden Gonzalez from ESPN with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa here on San Diego Sports 760. You tweeted something during the last Padres-Dodgers series that I thought was spot on about the inability for the Padres to essentially properly use an ABS challenge. We don't need to get into the specifics, but it led to that 3-run Dodger inning. They end up winning, I think, the game 4-2. In general, a constant complaint among Padres fans this year is how has this veteran team been so poor fundamentally, so to speak? It's not that they've got this terrible defense, but they make outs on the bases and they have had miscues and they've been awful in terms of knowing the strike zone, either their catchers or at the plate. Is that surprising to you?
Yeah, I guess so. And to be fair, like, I don't think I've watched the Padres closely enough to know that they've been good or bad at it. Like I could look on Baseball Savant and look at the ABS leaderboards and obviously take a look at that. And I think as ABS gets rolled out this year, I do think in their defense, like teams are still kind of sort of feeling out how they're going to use it, when to use it.
Yeah.
I don't think the Padres are alone in sort of not really having a full handle on this yet. I will say, though, I think the reason why fans are probably talking about ABS or maybe running the bases and little things like that is because the Padres are navigating a razor-thin margin for error. And I think that's the bigger problem with the Padres right now. This is the worst offense in baseball. The worst offense in baseball. In every meaningful category, at least last I looked, which wasn't that long ago. And this is a starting rotation that started off the year without much great depth and has suffered a lot of injuries, and they're paying the price for that now. So every night, the Padres have a razor-thin margin for error, and that's why those things show up. The reason why that ABS challenge showed up in the Dodger game is because they're not hitting. The Dodgers had their own ABS issue in that game. Andy Pages used one aggressively early in the game. He got it wrong, and later Freddie Freeman couldn't challenge a strikeout in an RBI situation. Nobody talks about that one because the Dodgers scored 1 million runs, and they rendered that moot. And I think that's the problem with the Padres. They can't do that.
That's a great observation. Yeah. Alden Gonzalez from ESPN joining us here on the Schaefer and Sliwa show. Alden, you know, you reach a certain stage in baseball age, and I'm talking about Manny Machado. Do you have confidence Machado can still find a way to get back to being the player that, you know, obviously San Diego is hoping for, and that they're just desperate to have? You know, John and I always talk about this. We say that, hey, I get it. If these stars, if Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, if they're going to get bad later in their contracts, you kind of understand it, but they can't be getting – They can't be going in the trajectory that they are, and we'll stick on Machado in this one, with this many years left on his contract. He's not even, you know, I think he'll turn 34 after this weekend. What is your confidence level that Manny Machado could be one of the versions that the San Diego Padres need him to be?
I might be in the minority on this one, but I worry about Machado at 37, 38. I have a hard time believing that I think you said he's going to be 34, 32, 33, 34, whatever it is, that he's going to have at that age and from what we know, relatively healthy and moving around okay. I have a hard time that he would fall off that precipitously. When the track record is that prolonged, this might be a Hall of Fame third baseman one day. And look, I watched Albert Pujols fall off very closely in Anaheim. One of the best right-handed hitters ever. It happens. It happens to everybody. But at 33, 34, for somebody that established, and again, I might be in the minority, and I think I am among especially people in San Diego. I have a hard time believing that this is just who Manny Machado is right now. Maybe I'm wrong, and I know he has shown signs lately of getting it together. I still think there is a Manny Machado who puts up a 120 OPS plus, at least for the next couple of years.
Hopefully
that might not be what he ends up with this year. But I have a hard time believing that that's not still in there.
Yeah, it's well said. I mean, he's been such an established, consistent major league hitter. It's surprising that he's still hitting 190. He's had some power, but he's hitting 190 this year for the Padres. Alden, we appreciate you taking time for us. We know it's a busy weekend. Enjoy the 4th and this weekend series with the Padres and the Dodgers, and thanks for doing it here in San Diego.
No problem, guys. Take care.
All right, here until 6 p.m. That was Alden Gonzalez again at ESPN. Updates on the World Cup match underway right now between Portugal and Croatia. And of course, we're getting you ready for game one of a 4-game series between the Padres and the Dodgers. More reaction to what was said post-game yesterday after the Padres' 23-3 loss to the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
I'm so excited to share something with you right now.
Please do. Because I don't. What's happening?
I know you're very excited about something going on this weekend. Big event.
Padres,
this weekend.
Dodgers, Big Bay Boom.
It's a good guess. A lot of good guesses.
Team USA.
Very good guess.
What else?
Permit obtained by the AP shows schedule for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding. They are taking over the Madison Square Garden. How amazing is this event going to be?
I do like that they went small. They didn't go like New York, 4th of July.
No, they're like
world's
very
most famous arena.
Subtle,
yes, it's very
quiet. We don't want the attention. I respect that.
You know, honestly, dude, I didn't really expect this to last. So they are getting married this weekend in New York City. And then what? Are they going to have like...
Says the permit shows 100 guests will begin arriving at Madison Square Garden at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday for a pre-party celebration.
What time are you getting there?
I'm getting there at 4.
He's not really going to Mexico.
A full street closure will then go into effect overnight, allowing crews to erect a drive-through tent next to a separate entrance tent. The main event will begin at 5 p.m. on Friday. Per the application, the party can host up to 1,000 people.
Wow.
It's a really good idea to take over the Madison Square Garden for that event.
Knowing you, dude,
that's such a good idea.
You'd be like, "Oh, it starts 6:30. I'll get there at like 7." I'm like, "You're gonna get to Taylor Swift's wedding late,
a little bit late.
You're gonna show up.
She's not getting there till 7:30.
True. So what happens afterwards? Are they honeymoon? Where are they gonna live? Are they having kids?
Why are they taking over Madison Square Garden?
I don't understand really. Yeah, what is?
Why are they taking?
Well, she's a big Knicks fan. You saw her during Game 4. She was jumping up and down.
Oh, she didn't stop. I think there were some times actually when the Spurs scored and she was still jumping.
Do you think?
Why are they taking over the Madison?
I don't know.
Garden?
I really don't know.
What are we doing here?
They're getting married.
They are getting married. That part's true. Yeah.
This is now. How are we going to consume this? Like, is TMZ going to be all over this? Did they sell like a documentary to Netflix?
By the way,
how much money could they make?
I wouldn't be shocked
by putting that together in like a 2-hour made for television.
All right. Well, that's happening this weekend.
I'm not honestly, dude,
televise it.
I don't think I'm not consuming that. I know a lot of people would if it was available. It's enough, right? They can do their thing. We can do our thing.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I just don't. I don't care they're getting married. That's all good. No problem.
Sure.
Awesome. Go have a phenomenal life together. MSG. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I'm with you.
4th of July weekend, like you mentioned.
Like shutting down the city of New York for your wedding.
The city of New York. What are we doing?
I don't know.
Now she said like if there was something like, hey, she's letting 5,000 fans in.
Okay.
To be there, and I'm sure those 5,000 fans would hallucinate. What are we doing?
Is Jalen Brunson gonna are the Knicks?
Great point.
Invited?
Maybe they're playing a game.
Honestly. All right. So we've got Taylor Swift's wedding this weekend.
Yes.
We have Team USA in the round of 16. That's Monday. You can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760, by the way, with pre-match coverage beginning at 4:30. We have Team Mexico playing Sunday night down in Mexico City.
Yep.
Against England. You're going to be down there. And we have Padres Dodgers, this 4-game series that maybe determines what happens next for the Padres this year. Pick yourself up. Can they? Can they not?
Yeah, I think there's, by the way, there's a little bit of like, what kind of pride are they going to show this weekend?
Great question.
You know, I think you can lose because you're outmatched.
Mm-hmm.
But I think our bigger issue with the Padres is less to do with like if I can come on a mic here and just say, hey, you know what? I respect the way they play. They play super hard. They're super buttoned up, but they just don't have the talent, or some other guys aren't coming through. Or maybe they're just overmatched because it's the Dodgers. The problem watching the Padres, it doesn't matter who the opponent is. It's not like, well, they just play sloppy against good teams. They play sloppy baseball, period. But I think that, that piece of what kind of fight do they show? Is this a kind of layover? And you know what? When things are going good, we look great. And when things aren't going good, we lay down and take the L.
Here's my
thought about that.
Here's the other part of it. Like you mentioned earlier, like from the Dodgers perspective, I mean, what do they really care? It's not like they have to play perfect baseball this weekend. They're winning this division.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking about October already, and it's July. But is there a part of the Dodgers that's like, finish them, so to speak? You can put them out of their misery by taking 3 or 4 games of this 4-game series. I mean, You could put them under 500. You could take away most hope, maybe not all hope, but most hope by just doing what you do, so to speak.
That's the biggest issue I had with the series in San Diego. You know, there's a portion of this, granted it was 2 games, but we obviously saw one of the games, what was it, 15-3 was the final.
Yeah.
And then, obviously the 4-2 game on Sunday. But there is a piece of this. It's like, this is kind of what champions do. Champions, they don't want to just beat you, especially because the Dodgers and the Padres have had moments against each other. There have been, hey, this series can go either way. Not division, but actual playoff matches. So I think there's a piece like, somebody gave me an example of this. It was the worst example I've ever heard.
Okay.
Because I thought there was some truth to it. And I think so far it's kind of playing out a little bit like that. Do you remember when the Lakers played the Sacramento Kings back in the Shaq and 20
years
days?
ago? Yeah.
And the Sacramento Kings took it to a game 7 and had a chance at home.
Yes.
To not just beat the Lakers, but they're probably winning an NBA championship if that happens. And once that moment didn't happen for the Sacramento Kings,
that was it.
They went that way, and the Lakers kept winning.
Interesting.
And when I heard that, I'm like, yeah. And I think the point that somebody was trying to make is like, Al, 2024 might have been their best shot. Like that was probably it. And if you're looking at that 2024 series, you're up 2-1. All you need is one in the next 2.
And you're at home for one of them.
And maybe that is the ticket that the Padres were able to kind of punch through. And this was coming off just a couple years earlier was the Phillies series. You got that experience. Like there was a lot that was playing into that. What's happened in these last couple of years? They've got to the playoffs out before you even knew it. And then this year we're sitting here.
I mean, I think that's a really good point. I think it's very possible we'll look back in 3 to 5 years and be like, that was the moment that was missed. We can't guarantee it because we don't know what's going to happen the next 3 to 5 years. But yeah, I think that's very fair that we'll look back on that and say that was the moment, that was the missed opportunity. By the way, Portugal has taken a late lead in extra time against Croatia.
They've been getting dominated, and they're about to move on.
Now, there's 10 minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah.
But yes, they've taken a 2-1 lead.
You know what I respect so much about your soccer knowledge?
Which is very extensive.
We've been a couple weeks the World Cup has been on, and you have had 47 different suggestions of why the World Cup and soccer should change its ways.
Can I give you one seriously? Like, I'm dead serious when I say
this. You don't want to say the one that you told me during the commercial break?
Well, I had break? He put 2 balls on the field.
No, I was dying.
You were cracking up.
You had
Hear me out real quick. How can you be so decisive about offsides that they break it down to the millimeter and then like, 10 extra minutes? Sure. 10. Like, sports are so decisive with the clock. How about we use the clock?
I had my cousin over yesterday. He came over to watch the USA game. And I was pitching him on let's just stop the clock.
Just stop the clock.
He's like, well, they just add the time.
No, but I'm
like, none of it seems accurate at all.
Dude, in the NBA, we're like 2.1 seconds. Soccer, they're like, just play on a few minutes.
He was getting angry. I was getting angry. I'm like, amazing. I should kick you out.
Enjoy Mexico City.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Enjoy your weekend. I know you got a lot going on as well.
I appreciate it. And we'll do this thing again next week. Everyone have an amazing 4th.
Yes.
Enjoy your 4th. Make it a safe holiday weekend. We're back here Monday at 3, getting you ready for Team USA against Belgium. All right, if you missed anything today, sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app. For Brent and Alan, I'm John. Enjoy the 4th. This is Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Peace.